Canadian Professional Football. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, working for Canadians in resource development, manufacturing, and transportation. KTEL International, specialists in personal care, household, and leisure time products. Yamaha Audio, quality stereo with a 5-year warranty on most models. And Labatt Breweries of Canada Limited, brewers of Labatt's 50 Ale and Labatt's Blue.
Live from the Winnipeg Stadium, it's the Western semifinal between the Edmonton Eskimos and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. There isn't a fan here in Winnipeg today that thinks the Eskimos can win this semifinal game. They argue that the Eskimos are a championship team on their way out, a team that has lost its teeth. On the other hand, they say the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are young, strong, and aggressive. The team of the future they can't lose. Well, no matter what they say, the experts claim that this will be a typical Western semifinal playoff game. It'll be aggressive, tough, and very, very close. Well, at halftime, we're going to review the Shenley Award finalists. The awards will be announced in Toronto next week. Compare your choices with the ones about to be made. And then Frank Rigney and Don Whitman are standing by to describe the game for you, and they'll join us in just a moment.
When the game comes on, the beer that comes out is Labatt's 50, Canada's favorite ale.
I thought you said last week was the last game.
Oh, well, last week was the last game of the regular season. This is the playoffs.
Oh. Oh.
You like 50. It's just that simple. You don't have to explain it. You just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
Some of the clearest, bluest water in all the world is only one day away on a Boeing jetliner. The Baja, the Caribbean, the South Pacific. Of course, some people have everything right in their own backyard. But if you don't, and warm water is your thing, get hold of your airline and get on a Boeing jetliner. There's a lonely cove somewhere waiting for you.
How do you know good stereo? I got a lot of help from this free fact book I picked up at my Yamaha audio dealer. Gives you comparisons between Yamaha Audio and its competitors. Tells you why it's significant that Yamaha exceeds even its own specifications. And Yamaha Audio gives a 5-year parts and labor warranty on most models. So I figured Yamaha deserved a listen. And man, it really delivered. Yamaha Audio, dynamite stereo. Whether you go by the book or play it by ear.
Hi, everyone. Frank, despite the fact that the Edmonton Eskimos are defending Grey Cup champions, a lot of people, particularly here in Winnipeg, seem ready to concede this semifinal battle to the Blue Bombers.
Don, I think it's a little early, as Ernie mentioned, to do that in the Western Conference playoff picture, but possibly one of the reasons is because the Eskimos have had so much trouble moving that football on the ground.
Well, they hope to correct that problem today with the addition of Howard Strickland, a back who is making his CFL debut in this most important contest. He's 23 years old. He's from the University of California. He has great speed. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, went to the Philadelphia Bell of the World Football League, then to the Green Bay Packers, and has been on a 5-day trial with the Eskimos. He's reputed to be fast. In contrast, the Blue Bombers have had no problems moving the ball along the ground.
Well, Don, they've got 3 great running backs in camp all year long. Richard Crump, Beard, and, of course, Jay Washington, who had led the entire Canadian Football League in rushing this year. He had 1,277 yards on the ground, almost as much as the entire Edmonton Eskimo Football Club. As a matter of fact, in the 3 games between these two teams, Jay Washington outgained the Edmonton Eskimos. But now down to field level and our national anthem.
return to Winnipeg Stadium and the Winnipeg kickoff in just a moment.
Find the people who can handle a tough job fast, and chances are you'll find Chevy trucks. Find the people who understand dependability, and they'll tell you when the going gets tough, Chevy trucks get going. Because when Chevy builds a truck, any truck, they build it tough. Start with the new one, the one they call the Bison, about as mean as they come. There's some of that in every Chevy truck. From the Titan 90 to the fleet side pickup, Chevy has the trucks to do the job, almost any job. Chevy has the suspensions to carry the load, whether it's people or pies. Find the people who think if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well, and you'll find Chevy trucks. Chevy trucks, built to stay tough.
There's a tremendous excitement in the air on a sunny afternoon at Winnipeg Stadium as Bernie Ruoff prepares to get this game underway, kicking off to Larry Highbaugh and Joe Holloman. Highbaugh back at his own 3-yard line, starting out for the Eskimos. He's had tremendous success running the ball back against Winnipeg this year. In the last meeting, he returned one for 118 yards and a touchdown. That time, he was brought down by John Bonk. Over 3 games, Winnipeg won 2 and lost 1. In total yardage, Winnipeg had a slight edge. Their big advantage was along the ground, 453 yards to 259 rushing for the Eskimos. However, the Eskimos had more success through the air. Bruce Lemmerman is the starting quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. The new back is Howard Strickland. Bob Toogood came in from his outside linebacking position to wrap his arms around Calvin Harrell right at the line of scrimmage. Toogood was through there extremely quickly to grab Calvin Harrell almost before he took the handoff from quarterback Bruce Lemmerman. Warrington is going out of the ball game. John Konahowski is coming in for the Eskimos. It will be 2nd and 10. And the Eskimos, with Konahowski coming into the ball game, may be inclined to go for a bomb on this second play of the game.
Quite possibly using the great speed of their new back, Don, Howard Strickland, which you talked about. There he goes deep.
Lemmerman is having some problems there. He's going to have to try and run it himself. He gets across the 40 to about the 42. He's upset by Chuck Wills. He's going to be stopped short of a first down. Well, if Lemmerman was looking downfield for a receiver, the Winnipeg defensive backs had certainly done a successful job of covering.
Don, I was watching Strickland as he went downfield, and Brian Hirosian, the outstanding safety of the Bombers, really drilled him down about 15 yards deep. And, of course, Lemmerman threw the pattern off completely, and Lemmerman had to take off with the football. They'll be about 1.5 yards short of the first down, so we'll have our first punting situation for the Eskimos.
And dropping back for Winnipeg, Vince Faison, number 9, and number 24, Merv Walker. Gary Lefebvre on the season has had a 39.4-yard punting average for the Edmonton Eskimos. The interesting features of Lefebvre's punting is his ability to race downfield, and every once in a while, even though he does shank them, he gets downfield very quickly and has recovered some of his own kicks.
Because he doesn't kick him very far.
The ball bounces away from Merv Walker. Faison chases back after it, and Faison is way back at his own 2-yard line. Down there by Don Warrington. The ball was misplayed by Merv Walker, and Faison had to retreat after it, and as a result, the Bombers start their first sequence in a deep hole.
Well, just after I said that Warrington didn't get off very long kicks, he gets that one out 64 yards, puts the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a very awkward field position. First down on their own 4.5-yard line. Only 2 minutes gone in this ball game as we take a look at Coach Ray Yock, a very concerned gentleman over the play of these Eskimos over the last half of the season. But you know, I just don't believe you can write off a Grey Cup champion like the Eskimos.
Jay Washington in 3 games between these two teams has outrushed the entire Edmonton football team, and Washington gets the call. He may have that first down. He crossed the 15 and was forced out at the 17. John Farlinger came over to make the tackle. Well, this is something that the Blue Bombers indicated they would try getting Washington outside on that pitch series, and on the very first play, he picks up what appears to be a first down, as it is a first down at the 16.
John, that's exactly what the Eskimos want to try and stop, too, and they'll try to stop it by moving a linebacker up on one or the other side of the line of scrimmage and bringing him across to force.
First and 10 from the 16. This is Beard behind Butch Norman. And Beard has got a first down. He's out to the 32 with Larry Highbaugh making the tackle. Well, we talked about that Winnipeg running game in our pregame show, and certainly they've come through with two fine efforts.
Just a great job by Bill Frank, the left offensive tackle there, pinning Ron Este on that side to the inside, and Beard allowing Beard to get around the outside. If Winnipeg is successful in getting around the flanks of this Edmonton defense, they're in for a long day.
The ball is at the 33. It's first and 10 Winnipeg. They started from their own 4-yard line. There's the pitch to Washington, trying to go right. Look out, he could go. He's gone for a touchdown. Jay Washington all the way.
Well, Don, there was only one man on the field that had a possibility of catching Jay Washington. That was Larry Highbaugh, and he was knocked off of making the tackle by his own man.
Holloman had a late shot at him, but Washington got by him.
Watch the move that Washington makes after he's picked up about 5 yards here, getting outside of Stevenson, number 62 there. Scott just gets in the way of Ed Jones, and then it's a foot race. Highbaugh, number 13, almost catches up with Washington, but he's knocked off by Berriman, number 29, his own ball player. A 77-yard score by Jay Washington. A 3-play drive for 106 yards by Winnipeg.
Point after by Bernie Ruoff is good. And Winnipeg has a 7-0 lead with 11:45 remaining in this first quarter.
And you saw Washington just cut back inside of Scott there as Berriman knocks Highbaugh off of making the tackle. Winnipeg leads this ball game 7-0, and we have a timeout.
Putting on our winter wings, enjoy the freedom skiing brings. Snow and slopes, let us fly, with shadows against the sky. And then we're touching the ground, good times all around. It's a good time and you're happy. It's a good time for a blue, time for smiling, celebrate blue. Smiles with you, smile along with you. Smile.
Well, for the Blue Bombers, what a way to start a football game on their first offensive sequence. 3 plays, 106 yards, 12 by Washington, 17 by Beard, and then 77 for the major score by Jay Washington. There's the reverse. Strickland has the ball as the Eskimos do a little maneuvering on that kickoff, and Strickland gets out to the 35, tackled there by Brian Hirosian. Coach Ray Yock told us they might try this if the Winnipeg Blue Bombers kick deep.
We see Strickland just faking here as Highbaugh had faked earlier in this season, faked the handoff on this, and finally he does give it to the second guy around, the new back Howard Strickland, who has that great 9.4 speed. He does return the kick 27 yards and gives Edmonton a first down at their own 35-yard line.
Caught right at the line of scrimmage. Man, this is a fired-up Winnipeg Blue Bomber defensive squad. John Babinez came in to make the stop. As we look at Jay Washington, who has put Winnipeg on the board with that electrifying 77-yard touchdown run. He's carried just twice today and has 89 yards. That's not a bad average.
Not a bad average at all. You know, Don, the addition of Don Hubbard And John Babinez, as well as Elton Brown, I think has been the major contributing factor to the improvement of this Winnipeg defense. They look great right now.
2nd and 10, the Eskimos. Lemmerman, no chance. That was Hubbard through on Lemmerman. He dropped him back at the 25.
Let's take a look at Hubbard as he's working against Joe Warbeck here, number 54, the left offensive guard. Hubbard's number 53, picked up from Miami in the NFL, and he does a great job putting the big sack on quarterback Bruce Limmerman.
Steve Beard is back, along with Merv Walker, for this 3rd down punt. The Eskimos, in 2 successive plays, have been unable to move the football. A good kick by LaFay. Beard is going to play it back at his own 42. Beard is run out of bounds at the Winnipeg bench. A penalty flag goes down. Dave Easley came over to force Beard out of bounds. However, there is a penalty flag on the play.
I think they're going to call Easley for roughing on the play. Beard had brought the ball back 9 yards. It was obvious that he was going to be stepping out of bounds, but fairly rough play against the Edmonton Eskimos. Another big break for Winnipeg.
So the rough play infraction against Dave Easley moves the ball into Edmonton territory. Referee Don Barker signals the infraction. The ball is at the Edmonton 44. Don Barker is the line umpire. Or the referee, I should say. The line umpire is Jim Lysak. Maury Mulhern, the back umpire. Neil Payne, the head linesman, and Merv Pilling is the field judge. Jay Washington fighting his way to the 36 with Dale Potter making the stop. 9 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in this sudden death Western semifinal in the 1st quarter. Winnipeg leading by a score of 7-0.
A great block by the young Canadian Gord Patterson here, number 34. He's working on Dan Kepley, the middle linebacker of the Eskimos, the 42. Gets a good shot on him.
Mark McDonald is wide left. Bob LaRose goes out to the right. 2nd and 3, the draw play with Beard, and he is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Dave Fennell caught him for a loss of about 1.
Patterson gets another great block on this play, two in succession, this time against Pete Labarato downfield, number 7. However, it's to no avail for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as they're faced with a 3rd and 3 situation, and Bernie Ruoff is in to attempt a 3-pointer. The leading scorer in the Canadian Football League in 1976, Bernie Ruoff.
He has kicked one from 46 yards this year. This one is from 44. He has the length, but it is wide, and Larry Highbaugh concedes a single point as Winnipeg moves into an 8-0 lead over the Edmonton Eskimos. On August the 10th, on a late touchdown throw from Bruce Lemmerman to Stu Lang, Edmonton beat Winnipeg 31-30. On the 25th of September, it was Winnipeg 28, Edmonton 17, and on October 17th, Winnipeg defeated Edmonton 36-33. Edmonton scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their own 35. Lemmerman throwing complete to Calvin Harrell. Harrell has some running room if he gets a block. All the way down to the Winnipeg 44, Calvin Harrell. Gary Lefebvre was downfield throwing a block that enabled Harrell cutting across the middle to move for 31 yards.
Harrell just working against Bob Toogood, the offensive or defensive linebacker, number 78 of the Bombers, and this is what Edmonton had said before the ball game they wanted to do, try to get their backs. Of course, this is something all offensive teams want to do, get their backs being covered by defensive linebackers. That time Harrell got away from Toogood and picks up 31 yards.
Frank, Calvin Harrell is down on the other side. It appears to be his left leg. You know, he's had problems with that most of the season, down around the ankle or so. He's had some ligament problems there.
Ernie, from your vantage point, I don't think you can see the ball player too well down at field level, and It's Gary Lefebvre, not Calvin Harrell, who's injured over on the far side.
You're right. It's Gary Lefebvre, but he's had problems with that side.
There's a shot of it right there, Gary Lefebvre, number 11.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Ernie, you can see him caught underneath Harry Walters, number 52. That's how Lefebvre was hurt.
Pitches to Strickland, and Strickland is caught right at the line of scrimmage. Middle linebacker Harry Walters came over to make the stop. 7:57 the time left to play in this first quarter. Winnipeg leading Edmonton by a score of 8-0. Congratulations go out today to Bob Shaw and the Hamilton Tiger Cats and their 23-0 success over the Montreal Alouettes yesterday. And of course, Hamilton will now face Ottawa in the Eastern Final next weekend, and you'll see that game on the CBC television network on Saturday. On Sunday, I should say. The draw play with Strickland. Strickland has a first down to the 31 of Winnipeg. Ryan Hirosian and Bob Toogood were in on the tackle.
You saw quarterback Tom Wilkinson warming up just a moment ago in the event that Calvin Harrell and Strickland and Bruce Limmerman cannot get this Edmonton offensive ball club moving, but they have picked up another first down all the way down to Winnipeg's 31-yard line. We'll be back with Edmonton's first down after this timeout.
KTEL Hit Machine. 20 original hits. Original stars. Thin Lizzy. Superstar Elton John. Sweeney Todd. John Sebastian and the fantastic Bellamy Brothers. Tina Charles. Carter McLean and Maxine Nightingale.
Well, the Eskimos have moved the ball into scoring position. They have it 1st and 10 just outside the Winnipeg 30-yard line. Bruce Lemmerman started at quarterback. He has Calvin Harrell, Howard Strickland, Don Warrington, and John Konahowski in the backfield with him. Lemmerman deciding to run it himself. He gets away from Harry Walters. He's got a first down as he's down to the 9-yard line. Stopped finally by Don Hubbard. Bruce Lemmerman doing an excellent job of running out of there when he could not find an open receiver.
Actually done not bad pass protection by that big offensive line of Edmonton's. All the receivers, however, are covered, and Bruce just takes off on this. And you can see that Bruce has quite a bit more running ability than a lot of people give him credit for. As a matter of fact, he's the leading rusher for the Eskimos over the 3-game series in 1976 against Winnipeg that's still active on the Edmonton roster.
It's 1st and goal, Eskimos from just inside the 10-yard line. Gary Lefebvre is back into the ball game. Strickland ran into his own man, Calvin Harrell. Harrell, who was attempting to throw a block out in front of him, had Strickland run right up his back.
I'll tell you, Don, let's take a look at Calvin Harrell because he's one of the best blockers in the Canadian Football League. But John Babinez, the new linebacker, number 70 of Winnipeg, absolutely stacks him up. Stop it right there if we can. Go back just a moment. You'll see the shot right there that Calvin Harrell was stood right up by John Babinez, number 70. Big play by the linebacker of Winnipeg. Just a 1-yard gain.
It's 2nd and goal for the Eskimos. The ball is at the 9. Lemmerman under pressure. Gets it away. It's kicked off, but out of bounds. It was grabbed by Lee Bernard, but Bernard was out of bounds. Bruce Lemmerman under pressure from Dave Knechtel. And coming into the ball game for the Eskimos is Dave Cutler.
Okay, Don, another play that wasn't seen there on your screen was John Babinez once again. He was just beating John Konahowski to death downfield. The poor wide receiver, the Eskimos had no chance at all to get open and have Bruce Limmerman deliver the ball to him.
For this field goal attempt, Tom Wilkinson comes into the ball game to hold for Dave Cutler. The kick will come from the 15-yard line. On the season, Cutler was good on 28 of 48 attempts. Kick is up. It is good.
John, you really have to credit John Babineau for stopping that drive. As I mentioned, he stood up Calvin Harrell. Now watch the job he did on Konahosky here. John was one of the intended receivers downfield, and he's so busy trying to fight off that big linebacker of Winnipeg that he has absolutely no chance to get open. Big job by Babineau.
So it's an 8-3 ball game with 5 minutes and 32 seconds still remaining in this first quarter. Winnipeg in front of Edmonton. An electrifying 77-yard touchdown run for Winnipeg, putting the Bombers ahead. That run by Jay Washington. The Canadian College Bowl comes your way on the full CBC television network on Saturday, November 20th. It will be Acadia versus Western in the Canadian College Bowl. John Badham and Frank Cosentino will describe all the action of that one.
And Tom, we know that the Edmonton Eskimos have been practicing something on their kickoff team, and that is Dave Cutler has been trying to kick the ball right at one of the opposition players rather than a short kickoff. We'll see if he does. If he attempts to do it, he generally spots the ball just a little bit lower angle. I think quite possibly he's doing it right here. Winnipeg has a habit of trying to come up and block the kicker right after he's kicked the football. We'll see if Dave Cutler tries to kick at it right at one of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' frontline defenders.
Not that time, as he bounced it deep and it got away from Mark McDonald. It's picked up finally by Steve Beard. And Beard is upset at the 34-yard line by Ed Jones. Charlie Turner, who was the Shenley Award winner as Lineman of the Year last season. And of course, the Shenley Awards will be a halftime feature on our telecast this afternoon. Ralph Brock, the Winnipeg quarterback, Tommy Scott, Steve Beard, Jay Washington, and Bob LaRose in that backfield. Mark McDonald and Gord Patterson, the wide receivers. Butch Norman and Bill Frank are the tackles. Lee Brock and Brown are the guards. Bob Swift, the center. That time, Washington going nowhere. However, there was a marker on the play. Illegal procedure is being charged against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Don Barker now explaining the options to the defensive captain of the Eskimos, Ron Este.
Illegal procedure, Winnipeg, number 21. Decline.
Tommy Scott, a member of the Blue Bombers, guilty of the illegal procedure call. It was a gain of about 2 yards. The Eskimos declined the penalty. It will be 2nd and 8. On the season, Brock completed 223 of 402 attempts. He fakes the screen to Washington. Washington is caught from behind by Dave Fennell. So Winnipeg will be forced to give up the football. Winnipeg started very quickly on their first offensive sequence, a 12-yard romp, then 17, then 77. But on their last 2 sequences, the Edmonton defensive unit has come up with several key plays.
Don Ruoff will have a little bit of the wind with him. It's very light right now, about 4 to 5 miles an hour, but it seems to be moving around. It's right with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers now.
Ruoff kicked the ball for a 45.1-yard average in 1976. He gets away, an excellent kick. Highbaugh goes back to his own 16-yard line. Still spinning, still on his feet. He ran into one of his own men over there. Dave Fennell was the ball player he collided with, and that enabled Tommy Walker to come in to make the tackle.
I tell you, Larry made so many moves there, Dave just couldn't get out of the way. It was an 8-yard run back. We saw Bernie Ruoff get away a 55-yard punt there, and the Eskimos take over first down on their own 26-yard line. There's 4:30 remaining in this first quarter.
The Eskimos have done some juggling of personnel in that offensive backfield with Lefebvre and Konahosky alternating at a flanker position. Lefebvre is in there at the moment. The drop play is going nowhere. Calvin Harrell was caught a yard deep by Don Hubbard.
Great job by Hubbard, who of course has the only sack of this ball game so far, working against Bruce Lerman. Also Dave Knechtel, of course, number 65, the very steady inside twosome of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Hubbard 53 and Knechtel 65.
Jay Washington, the man responsible for the game's only major score, a 77-yard touchdown run. It's now 2nd and 11 for the Eskimos. The ball is at the 25. Lemmerman putting it in the air, throwing deep. He's got McGowan. McGowan couldn't catch up with it. McGowan was in a foot race with Merv Walker, and McGowan couldn't catch up with that long throw down the sidelines by Bruce Lemmerman.
Well, they didn't misconnect by much, Don, and obviously the Eskimos felt that they saw something there as John Konahosky brought that play in from the bench. A little bit of humor here in Winnipeg Stadium.
Vince Faison is back now with Merv Walker for this 3rd down kick off the shoe of Gary LaFay. 8-3 is the score. Winnipeg leading Edmonton with 3:24 the time left to play in the opening quarter. The winner, of course, will go on to meet the Saskatchewan Roughriders next Saturday afternoon at Taylor Field in Regina for the Western Championship. Good kick by LaFave. It's taken by Faison at the 43. Faison is stopped at the 52. Bob Howes was there to make the tackle. A run back of about 10 yards after a 42-yard punt by Gary LaFave. Let's pause 1 minute for this timeout.
And now, Canada, the new Chevrolet.
Take off in your very own plane. Win this Cessna plus flying lessons in Yamaha Audio's Takeoff with Yamaha contest. And that's only one prize. You could win a takeoff to Tahiti. Or take off to ski the Bugaboos. But it starts when you take off for your Yamaha audio dealer. Take a listen to Yamaha's superb sound. Then take home an entry form. Enter the Takeoff with Yamaha contest. Your Yamaha audio dealer has details.
Well, many of the spectators at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon have brought signs to the park. Some of them in a derogatory way, poking fun at the Eskimos. Washington on the quick opener. And Washington is down to the 34. Pete Laverato was there to make the stop.
I'll tell you, Don, that's simply a case of the middle linebacker, Dan Kepley, getting lost on the play because it's just a straight handoff. Watch number 42, Dan Kepley of the Eskimos. 23-yard pickup by Washington, and that's Swift. If we stop and go back just a second, right there, you'll see that Swift has made the block on Kepley, allowing him to get just past the middle linebacker. He picks up another 23 yards. Jay Washington already has 121 yards in this first quarter.
The Edmonton 34. The give is to Steve Beard behind the blocking of Bill Frank. However, there were 3 Eskimo defenders over there, led by Bill Stevenson, to break up the play. Credit Beard with an advance of about 4 yards. It will be 2nd and 6, Winnipeg.
Dale Potter actually did a pretty good job there, the linebacker of the Eskimos, who used to be with these Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as he fought off the block of Bill Frank, who leading Beard around the outside, limiting the gain to 4 yards, as you say, Donnie. 2nd and 4 at their 2nd and 6 at the 31.
Brock throwing. Scott got it. No, they rule that he was out of bounds. He made a dive for that throw, the first pass of the afternoon by Ralph Brock. Larry Highbaugh and Ed Jones were both defending on Tommy Scott.
What a tremendous effort it was by Scott. However, I don't think even if he'd held on to the football, it'd have been counted as a reception. It appeared that he landed out of bounds. It's irrelevant, however, as you see the ball bounce away. But a great effort by Tommy Scott.
So a 3rd and 6 situation will probably produce a field goal attempt by Bernie Ruoff. Ruoff was wide on an earlier try from 44 yards. This kick will come from 38. Ruoff split the upright. 31 times on field goal attempts this season. He is wide again. And Larry Highbaugh in the end zone starts moving slowly out. He dodges one would-be tackle. What a move by Larry Highbaugh. Still on his feet, and Highbaugh runs it all the way to the 27. What an effort by Larry Highbaugh. He faked the Winnipeg ball player coming into the end zone into thinking he was going to concede a single point.
It's Bob Toogood, I believe, Don, and he goes outside at number 78. See him just nonchalantly walking up. All of a sudden, he takes off, and Toogood is left in the wake there. Watch Larry just fake here at about the 20-yard line, leaving the ball, unfortunately, very much exposed, but that's Bernie Ruoff, who's not going to stop anybody out there. A big run back by Larry Highbaugh, saving the single point, giving Edmonton a first down on their own 27-yard line.
Edmonton 1st and 10 from the 27. We're into the final minute of this first quarter. The quick pass to Tyrone Walls. Walls with a gain of about 8 yards, straightened up by Brian Hirosian, and then Hirosian got some help from Harry Walters.
Kind of pattern that the Eskimos favor a great deal when they see those linebackers leaving gaps in there. Limmerman just looks over the top of that line and hits Tyrone Walls. He runs into Brian Hirosian almost immediately, and it'll have to be a measurement to see whether or not the big tight end has picked up a first down.
Just 19 seconds remain on the clock in this first quarter. It is just shy of a first down. About half a yard away. The Eskimos, the defending Grey Cup champions, third-place finishers in the Western Conference this season. They had 19 points, a single point behind Winnipeg, and 3 behind the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Don, I would think as well as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have moved the football against these Ests in this first quarter, they must be a little concerned having only an 8-3 lead.
Bruce Lemmerman on the keeper on what should be the final play of the first quarter, and I would think he has the first down. Don Barker signals that he has the first down and also signals that that was the final play of the first quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading the Edmonton Eskimos by a score of 8-3. We'll return in 1 minute.
How do you know good stereo? I got a lot of help. This free comparison book from my Yamaha audio dealer told me just what I wanted to know, with the facts to let me judge how Yamaha rates against their competitors. Did you know that Yamaha audio is so well made they give a 5-year parts and labor warranty on most models? So I figured Yamaha deserved a listen, and man, it really delivered. Yamaha audio, dynamite stereo, whether you go by the book or play it by ear.
General Motors announces a $200 cash bonus on every new Chevy Vega and Chevette, Pontiac Astra and Acadian, delivered from stock by January 10th, 1977, or ordered by December 10th, 1976. This $200 cash bonus can be used against the down payment, or a check for $200 will come to you from General Motors of Canada for a $200 cash bonus on Vegas, Chevettes, Astras, and Acadians. See your General Motors dealer now.
Our halftime show today features the Schenley nominees. The winners will be announced during Grey Cup week, and we'll review the 5 categories for you. Make your choices and see how they compare with the final results. That's at halftime.
Well, there certainly are some outstanding nominees for the Schenley Awards in this 1976 season. I suppose if the voters were casting ballots after today's game, which of course they're not, Jay Washington would certainly receive serious consideration. He was the Winnipeg nominee. He already has 120 yards rushing today. Lemmerman doesn't get a chance to throw. Don Hubbard was there again, applying pressure. Elton Brown had also come through from his defensive end slot.
I think it's Elton Brown that finally puts Limmerman on the ground, Don, number 63, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber and Hamilton Ticat. Good pressure from the inside. You see 63 finally bringing Limmerman down.
Tom Wilkinson in the green jacket at the Eskimo bench. Ray Yock indicated last night that Wilkie has fully recovered from that arm problem, and he, of course, will not hesitate to throw Wilkie into the ball game if Lemmerman is unable to move the team. Zimmerman again under pressure, and he is dumped by Jim Heighton.
The initial pressure this time, though, came from number 65, Dave Knechtel. He's playing against Ernie Kirk, the right offensive guard, and watch Big Dave's 255 pounds put the original pressure on Bruce Limmerman right here. Limmerman gets away from him, but Jim Heighton puts the final sack on the Edmonton quarterback. I wouldn't be at all surprised, Don, the next time Edmonton gets the ball that we do see a quarterback change, as you just mentioned.
Number 9, Faison, 24, Walker, are back to receive the third down kick by Gary LaFay. An excellent kick by LaFay. It's taken by Faison at the 34. Faison gets a block, breaks one tackle, and brings it all the way back to the midfield stripe. Pete Laverado finally brought Faison down. A 20-yard run back after a 46-yard kick by Vince Faison, who couldn't find employment with both BC and Edmonton, but has certainly played well for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at that cornerback position and in returning kicks.
Actually, a great job by Laverado, although the gain was 20 yards, as you mentioned, by Faison. Don Laverado fought off 2 blocks to finally make the stop. Winnipeg first down at midfield.
Brock throwing to LaRose on the sidelines. He's forced out of bounds, very close to a first down by Larry Heibaugh. The fans respond with Bob LaRose making that catch. Winnipeg partisans feel that Brock has not gone to LaRose often enough, and LaRose would certainly echo those sentiments.
Don, having won 8 out of the last 10 ball games, I don't think they really should be too concerned on who he's throwing it to. He's been very successful in the last half of this season.
Second and a long yard for Winnipeg. I think they have it with Steve Beard. He was caught by Bill Stevenson, but his forward momentum appeared to carry to the 45.
We talked about Dan Kepley getting beat earlier in this ball game. We'll see him right in the middle line, that middle linebacking spot around the right side of your screen. He started up right now. You'll see him come into that Winnipeg backfield about a yard deep and hit Beard. Number 42, he is right there. However, he cannot hold on and stop Winnipeg from getting that first down. See it once again on an isolated shot. Good movement by number 42, Dan Kepley, middle linebacker of Edmonton.
Winnipeg is at Edmonton's 45. That quick pass to Beard, it's fumbled. They rule an incomplete pass. The ball was scooped up by John Farlinger. However, the officials ruled that it was an incomplete pass. So it's second and 10 for Winnipeg. With 12:02, the time left to play in this second quarter. Winnipeg leading by a score of 8-3. Beard has carried 4 times for 23 yards. Here's the draw play with Washington. It stopped after an advance of about 2. Ron Este from his defensive end spot came in to pull the feet out from under Jay Washington. So again, we have Bernie Ruoff coming into the ball game. And Ruoff, as I mentioned earlier, has been successful on a 46-yard field goal attempt. This time, however, they line up in punt formation. Ruoff stands back at his own 50-yard line. High kick by Ruoff. It's taken by Heibaugh on the run. Penalty flag for down. Heibaugh breaks one tackle, and he gets it out to the 30-yard line. Ron Southwick had encroached upon the 5-yard area. Almost certainly no yards will be charged against the Blue Bombers, and Larry Heibaugh very alertly moving up to take that ball on the dead run, returned to 26 yards.
Good job, Heibaugh. You see number 62 coming into your screen, right in the middle of your screen, and unfortunately that ball kind of hung up there as Ruoff only kicked the ball 40 yards. I'm sure that Winnipeg and Ron Southwick would be the guilty party if he called it the no yards. You see it now, it's being waved off because Larry Heibaugh brought the ball back 26 yards.
So the Eskimos scrimmage 1st and 10. The ball is at the 30. Bruce Lemmerman is still the quarterback. Strickland, the ball carrier, he is stopped at the 34. For all football fans in the nation's capital looking in this afternoon, the Ottawa Rough Riders will host the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Eastern Final next Sunday, and good seats for that Eastern Final will be available to the public as of November 15th at the ticket office from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. Lemmerman throwing. Konahowski couldn't hang on to the ball. Konahowski was in the clear, but he couldn't hang on to the ball as he was hit by Brian Hirosian.
Hey, Don, that's one of the best defenses against the Edmonton Eskimos and Ray Yock's offensive unit that likes so much that quick type of pattern. And there's another fellow that is scouting this ball game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, of course. John Payne, the head coach of the Riders, is here, along with all of his assistants, taking a look at this semifinal ball game. Of course, they will meet the winner next week.
And during the course of this telecast, we hope to hear from John Payne as to what he has seen in this battle between Winnipeg and Edmonton. Okay, standing at the 20. He gets away. Another excellent kick. Walker chases it back. He loses control of the ball and takes it out of bounds way back at the 11-yard line. Walker has had difficulty on 2 occasions in fielding those Gary Lefebvre punts. That one a 64-yarder. We'll be back with Winnipeg's first down right after this message.
Come on in, Canada. Take a look around. There's room inside for your Chevy van to be just about anything you'd like. Lots of room for loading. Plenty of room for your own private workshop. Or easy living. And because it's built rugged, it'll go anywhere the roads go. Now, come on, Canada.
Who makes them better than Chevy can? Nothing beats a Chevy van. Chevy van.
You could win a 1977 Cessna Commuter, plus flying lessons in Yamaha Audio's Takeoff with Yamaha contest. You could win a trip for 2 to Tahiti. Or you could win a trip for 2 to ski the Bugaboos. But it starts when you take off for your Yamaha audio dealer for a demonstration of Yamaha's superb sound. Then take home an entry form. Enter the Takeoff with Yamaha contest. Your Yamaha audio dealer has details.
Well, the way Winnipeg started this ball game, it looked as though they might blow the Eskimos right out of the park. However, that Edmonton defensive unit has certainly tightened up. And again, they have Winnipeg forced deep into their own zone. 1st and 10 at their own 11. Brock is throwing deep. He's looking for Patterson. Incomplete. Laverado is down there. Patterson is protesting that interference should have been charged. Many of this capacity crowd of 25,000 seem to agree with Gord Patterson. Of course, I would suspect that their opinion might be slightly biased.
Actually, Don, I thought Laverado did a great job. I thought he timed it very, very well against Patterson, number 34. And Ed Jones of the Eskimos did a tremendous job of knocking Tom Scott down out of the pattern. Take a look at Patterson here, however, as Laverado goes up just as the ball gets there. Nothing wrong with that at all, in my opinion.
Back to live action. The 2nd down play intended for LaRose. It's incomplete. LaRose had flanked out wide. He was coming back in. And Brock seemed to fire the ball behind him. Brock has thrown 6 times this afternoon. He's completed only 2 of them for 10 yards.
Barring a tremendous punt by Bernie Ruoff as we look at Gord Patterson involved in that controversial play with Laverado there. Unless Ruoff gets off a tremendous punt, Edmonton will have excellent field position. 9:15 remaining in this first half.
Bernie Ruoff kicking to Holloman and Highbaugh, and this pair has been extremely dangerous in games involving Winnipeg and Edmonton this season. Highbaugh takes it at midfield. He needs just a sliver of daylight to go. That time he was upset at the 44 by Chuck Wills and Butch Norman. A 43-yard kick and an 11-yard run back by Larry Heibaugh.
Don, the Winnipeg end of the field right now is getting the full force of the sun. The defensive backs and the punt return specialists have told me that they are losing the ball in the sun. Right now it's cutting right across and bothering them, and they're finding it difficult to pick out the ball as it comes from the passer's hand.
Usually on the 14th of November, sun is never a problem for the Western semifinal.
Unless it's peeking through the snow.
A determined effort by Strickland picks up about 7 yards. Brian Hirosian spilled the rookie running back of the Eskimos at the 39.
I'll tell you, Calvin Harrell, number 19, gets his shot back at John Babin as the outside linebacker. If we take a look at him now, stop it right there, you'll see the hit. And watch Harrell drive Babin as number 70 right back, giving Strickland the room to pick up the 6-yard gain on the play. Big block by Calvin Harrell.
2nd and 4, Edmonton. Lemmerman Hirosian stepped in front of the intended receiver, and I think he sensed that 6 points was going to go on the board, favor Winnipeg.
And I'll tell you, there was another sense there, and I think it was Bruce Lemmerman sensing the blitzing linebacker John Babin as that time as he came up through the inside and put tremendous pressure on Lemmerman, forcing him to throw that football just a little before he wanted to, and quite possibly blocking his vision, him not being able to see Brian Hirosian, who almost picks up a big turnover here for Winnipeg. Should have had it, Brian.
Dave Cutler comes into the ball game to attempt a 46-yard field goal. I think that kick may have partially been blocked. Lee Bernard takes it, and Bernard is down at the 12, but Dave Cutler is injured. Back at the 48-yard line, Ron Southwick came through just as Cutler kicked that ball.
You see Southwick come through absolutely clean here. Don, you may be right whether or not he got a piece of that football. It's very difficult to determine from here. If not, Cutler didn't hit it very well. You'll see number 62 come flying through the air right here. There's how Cutler was injured just slightly, and that's Tom Wilkinson, of course, who's holding the ball for Cutler. However, we do have a timeout on the field with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading Edmonton 8-3. We'll be right back.
Some of the greatest beaches in the world are not very far away. By Boeing jetliner. Malibu, Kaanapali, St. John. Of course, some people have everything right in their own backyard. But if you don't, and you'd like to be alone, get hold of your airline and get on a Boeing jetliner. There's a lonely beach somewhere in the world waiting for you.
So Dave Cutler, walking around at that Edmonton bench, appears to be all right. He took quite a shot on that field goal attempt. 7:20 is the time left in this second quarter. Winnipeg with a first down at the 12. The handoff straight ahead, and the play is going nowhere as the middle of that Edmonton defensive line piles up Jay Washington.
Don, on the other side of the field.
Okay, Ernie, we'll get that in just a minute, but the CBC Curling Classic comes your way. On Saturday, November 20th, Claire de Blonde of Winnipeg takes on Canadian champion Jack McDuff of St. John's, Newfoundland. Penalty flag is down, and Ralph Brock is downed in the grasp of Ron Estee and Calvin Miller. And holding is going to be charged against center Bob Swift of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I'm quite certain that the Eskimos will decline the penalty.
Can I jump in now, Don?
Ernie, take over.
I was just noticing on the other side of the field that Tom Wilkinson has been warming up quite steadily. We talked to Ray Yauch before the game, and he said there's a pretty good chance that he might get in the game, but he's consistently throwing the ball over there and keeping loose. He could be in the next sequence.
Ralph Brock having difficulty in getting passes away this afternoon. And with 6:34 remaining in this first half, the Eskimos should again have excellent field position for their next offensive sequence. The kick by Ruoff is taken at midfield by Holloman, and Holloman gets no further. Butch Norman was downfield to make the tackle. A 46-yard kick by Bernie Ruoff, and the Eskimos will take over at midfield. Butch Norman, the big offensive tackle of the Bombers, got downfield very quickly.
He's a brother-in-law, as a matter of fact, Donnie. I think of Buddy Brown, number 56, a left guard of Winnipeg, and their brother-in-laws on that offensive line are also partners in the offseason. Little soybean and peanut growers down south. I imagine they're big people now that we have a...
I don't think they're quite as famous as that other peanut grower down south.
That president-elect probably liked these folks, though.
There's the pitch to Strickland. He had no opportunity to get outside as John Babanez read that play perfectly, and Bob Toogood also came over to break it up. It's a gain of 1. It will be 2nd and 9 for the Eskimos, who are still experiencing problems with their running game.
With the exception of one 14-yard gain earlier in this ball game down by Strickland, Winnipeg's defense has bottled them up pretty well. They bottled up the passing game as well, as Bruce Limmerman is only 2 for 6 for 40 yards so far. The big one, of course, to Calvin Harrell for 31 yards.
2nd and 9. Lemmerman gets some time, and it's off the shoulder of Lee Bernard. Intended for John Konahowski, and Lee Bernard, who appeared to have an interception in his mitts, had it bounce away from him.
John, I think Ernie's point is well taken here about the sunshine. It appeared to me that Konahowski might well have lost that ball in the sun. He reached out for it almost half blindly there. He may have tipped it right there. It went off Bernard's chest. Once again, Edmonton very fortunate. Two occasions in a row where Winnipeg had good opportunities to make interceptions. The previous one, of course, by Brian Hirosian. Create a kicking situation once again for Edmonton. We have 5:15 remaining in this ball game. They'll kick it away from their own 53.5-yard line.
Frank, the way this ball game started, it looked as though it would be a wide open offensive display, but the defensive units have certainly tightened up. Merv Walker takes the ball at his own 6-yard line. He gets away from one. Still going. And finally is taken out of bounds by Pete Lavorato. Roger Scales and Bob Howes were the two would-be tacklers initially in pursuit of Merv Walker, but he ran away from them for a 14-yard return. 4:49 is the time left in this first half. Some of the more optimistic Winnipeg fans feel their heroes are going to be playing in the Grey Cup game at Toronto's CNE Stadium on the 28th of this month. However, they have 2 hurdles to overcome, the first of which is the Edmonton Eskimos this afternoon. There's the pitch to Jay Washington, trying to go wide. Dave Fennell is over to make the tackle at the 25-yard line. Ron Este was also there for the Eskimos. Gain of almost 5. It will be 2nd and 5 for Winnipeg, and Washington is limping just slightly as he comes back to that Winnipeg huddle.
I think he may be just tired, Don. He's already run for 129 yards in this ball game.
Pass to LaRose. LaRose is taken out of bounds by Holloman. That will be a Winnipeg first down.
I'll tell you, that looked like one of the old Jackie Parker or Kenny Plain passes that went end over end out to Bob LaRose in the flat area out there. Sorry about that, Jack, Ken. It certainly didn't have much authority on it, and it was very fortunate that it got to LaRose when it did. Might well have been an Edmonton pickoff there. Holloman, number 29, had good coverage on LaRose. It's going to be a penalty, however, against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's going to negate that first down. Appears to be a 5-yarder, Don.
Offensive offside. Number 74, Winnipeg.
Charged with the offside. So that will wipe out what would have been a first down throw to Bob LaRose, and Winnipeg is now 2nd and 10. Brock throwing up the middle. It is picked off. Grabbed by Ed Jones, and Jones is filled immediately by Tommy Scott. Ed Jones made his CFL debut against Winnipeg on October 17th. Comes up with a big interception for the Eskimos late in this first half.
As we take a look at the secondary of Edmonton, you can see Tommy Scott at the top of your screen, just putting his post pattern down through the middle here. Just excellent timing by Ed Jones, 24, stepping in front of him to make that pickoff. Actually, Brock had a lot of time to throw that football.
Tom Wilkinson is now in at quarterback for the Eskimos. On the season, he completed 109 of 184 attempts. Wilkinson throwing. Tyrone Walls couldn't catch it, and it's an incomplete pass. Well, as Ernie pointed out earlier, and if you're still listening, Ernie, I'm sure that sun is causing problems for both receivers and defenders.
No question about it, Don, and particularly from that side of the field, because they must turn back and look directly into the sun as the ball is coming towards them.
That's exactly what happened to Tyrone Walls. That ball was certainly well delivered by quarterback Tom Wilkinson. 2nd and 10 for Edmonton on Winnipeg's 41.
Wilkinson throwing deep for Warrington, and he couldn't catch up with it. There's a penalty flag down as Wilkinson was decked by Don Hubbard.
Well, Hubbard got in there, but an excellent job by center Bob Howes at the Edmonton Eskimos as he picks up blitzing linebacker Harry Walters right in the middle. You see Don Hubbard, 53, however, putting the big pressure on as we started up. See Bob Howes, 53, pick up Walters. However, Hubbard goes through two blockers of Edmonton, put Wilkinson down, and the ball was just slightly overthrown. As we have a timeout, Winnipeg still leads this ball game by 5 points.
Labatt's 50. More people say it, more people enjoy it. It's Canada's most popular ale. You enjoy yourself, and you drink 50 because it's the beer you enjoy. It's just that simple. Fifty's a beer with a taste you like. You don't have to explain it, you just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
The man wearing the headset is Winnipeg defensive coordinator Dick Monroe, and he is one of the reasons this Winnipeg club has enjoyed such success over its last 11 games. Under his direction, that defensive unit has played some inspired football. Right now, a field goal attempt is upcoming by Dave Cutler, this one from 48 yards out. He has the length. It is good. Dave Cutler puts it through from 48 yards away, and it's now an 8-6 ball game. Just 2 points separating the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Edmonton Eskimos.
Now, down before this ball game, Bernie Ruoff of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers was quoted as saying he didn't think field goal kicking was going to be the key in this ball game. Let's hope from Winnipeg's point of view that he's correct, because he's missed 2 of them, and Dave Cutler has put 2 on the board.
Ray York, the head coach of the Eskimos, who for the past 3 seasons has had his Eskimos in the Grey Cup game, winning it, of course, last year. He's telling me prior to the start of the ball game that the Eskimos made 7 changes in their roster this year. He feels that they'll have an even better football team next year, as they have developed some good young players this season. A deep kickoff by Cutler. It gets away from Tommy Scott in the end zone. Scott may have difficulty getting this one out of there. I think he's going to concede a single point. It's now 8-7. A 98-yard kickoff by Dave Cutler. Tommy Scott had no alternative deep in that end zone but to concede the single point.
Ernie, I think he just hit that big. That wind is not that strong down there, is it?
No, Frank, it really isn't. It's about 5 miles an hour or so drifting back there. Not too bad. And a little bit across the field now. He hit it well.
Just 1 point separating Winnipeg and Edmonton in what appears now to be a classic defensive struggle after opening up with wide open offensive action by both sides. It's picked off, grabbed by Pete Lavarado. Lavarado is upset. Mark McDonald came back to make the tackle on Lavarado, who timed that throw perfectly and stepped in front of the intended receiver.
And once again, there was not that much on the ball. He almost looped the ball up in the air, and you see Lavarado coming in front of Patterson there. Brock was under a fair amount of pressure as Edmonton had brought both of their outside linebackers in an attempt to put pressure on him. The second interception in a row that the Edmonton Eskimos have picked off.
Frank, this is something that the Eskimos have been attempting to do in this first half, is isolate Lavarado on Patterson defensively.
That's exactly right, Donnie. He's not succeeded last 2 occasions.
Good fake by Wilkinson, going for the bomb, throwing into the end zone, incomplete. Intended down there for George McGowan.
Well, you know, this ball had to be absolutely perfectly thrown, and it just almost was. McGowan was covered by 2 people, Wills and Walker, inside and outside, but he almost made a tremendous reception. You see him coming down on an isolated shot, which Kenny Nielsen has once again, and you see Wills on the inside, Walker on the outside, and watch, he gets one hand on the ball. That's twice in this first half that McGowan has almost caught deep passes for 6 points. Once when Bruce Limmerman tried to hit him against Walker on that occasion.
2nd and 10 at the 34. Wilkie seemed to have a little trouble with that exchange from center. Now he's got even more difficulty. Dave Neckel was the man who got through to make the tackle. Harry Walters was also coming from that middle linebacking spot.
Watch Harry Walters come in for that middle linebacking spot, Don. I thought Kirk, number 56, the right offensive guard of Edmonton, was holding Walters as he came inside. You see it right there going down. Could well have been called. However, it was not, so we'll have a 3rd and 14 situation for the Eskimos. 2:13 remaining in this first half. Just a 1-point spread now. The Eskimos can go ahead of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for the first time in this ball game.
Cutler's field goal attempt will come from 45 yards out. Just a few moments ago, you'll recall, he was successful from 48 yards away. He has the length. It is wide. It's taken in the end zone by Bernard. Bernard goes down, conceding the single point. There's a penalty flag on the play. Ernie Kirk exchanges greetings with Ron Southwick.
I'll tell you, Stu Lang is really upset with the officials because they don't feel roughing should have been called here. Bernard seems to not want to make up his mind here whether he's going to concede it or not. He finally goes down, and Kirk, 56, takes a shot at him just as he went down. Very tough call, I think, against the Edmonton Eskimos. Bernard had just stood about 2 or 3 yards deep in the end zone.
The single point will stand. It's a tie ball game. Winnipeg 8, Edmonton 8. The 15-yard infraction will be tacked on from the 35-yard line. That will move the ball out to the 50.
Well, I agree with that 100% then, Don. They're actually not saying that he should not have hit him. He may have hit him with a little more violence than it was necessary, but I think that's a good call. I don't think Edmonton should have had that 1 point taken away from him.
Ron Este having the infraction explained to him by referee Don Barker. The 1 point was scored, then the unnecessary roughness took place after the single point had been conceded. So it's a tie ball game. Winnipeg 8 and Edmonton 8. Winnipeg now with a first down at its own 50 with 1:47 remaining in this first half. Washington fighting his way up the middle to the midfield stripe, a gain of 5. It will be 2nd and 5. Dave Fennell came in to make the tackle. The officials rule that Washington touchdown at the 54. It will be 2nd and 6.
Well, after that tremendous first start in the first quarter, Winnipeg doesn't have a first down in this quarter so far.
They're not going to get another one in this quarter, at least on this sequence, as Dale Potter comes in to spill Steve Beard. An attempted screen to Beard backfires, and it's a loss for the Blue Bombers. It's now 3rd and 13.
Beautiful read by Potter, number 30, the outside linebacker on that side. As he saw little Stevie Beard coming out, attempting to screen, and with only 1:28 remaining in a tied football game, Winnipeg's going to have to give up the football once again.
Good kick by Ruoff, taken by Holloman at the 18-yard line. Holloman is going back, and he's going to be caught back there. No, he gets away. He broke the tackle. A penalty flag is down, and Holloman is down by Bernie Ruoff. However, there is a penalty flag back at the 28-yard line.
Well, I think it was Ron Southwick, number 62, who it appeared that he had him pinned way back there. If we started up right now, you see Holloman giving up an awful lot of ground. Number 62, Southwick, appeared to have him all the way back to the 10-yard line, and we'll see if we can pick up this infraction for you. Now we can't pick it up on our replay here, so we'll have to wait for the official's call. The run back by Holloman was 28 yards, getting the Eskimos out of a very difficult position, field position-wise, but the holding call that you see Don Barker explaining is going to put them right back to their own 12-yard line, so they are going to have a field goals or a field position problem.
The ball is back at the 12-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 for the Eskimos at that point, with now 1 minute exactly remaining in this first half. McGowan is wide to the left. LaFleur flanks right. Strickland started inside, found the hole plugged, and tried to go wide. Jim Heighton was the man who made the initial contact along with Brian Hirosian.
Well, I'm sure that Coach John Payne and the rest of his staff of the Saskatchewan Roughriders who were here this afternoon would have preferred to see one ball club dominate in the first half so they could pay more attention to one team or the other in the final 30 minutes. But we have a tied football game, and you see the time remaining in the first half.
Tom Wilkinson, who replaced Bruce Lemmerman as Edmonton quarterback in this second quarter, has been unsuccessful in 3 pass attempts. This would seem to be a passing situation for the Eskimos. Draw play with Strickland, and Strickland is down at the 16. Jim Heighton was there for the Bombers, and so the Eskimos on 3rd down will be forced to give up the football, and with 30 seconds on the clock, Winnipeg should have time for at least one play. Well, the way Winnipeg started out, Frank, and running that football, it looked as though their ground game was really going to rip apart that Eskimo defensive unit today, but they certainly rose to the occasion and have played steady football since then.
And of course, the 2 big interceptions by Ed Jones and Pete Labarato have made the significant difference in this second quarter.
The Eskimos are going to be charged with taking too long in putting the ball into play.
I think they accomplished exactly what they wanted with that, Don. The clock now shows only 8 seconds left in this first half. Of course, the clock will not start until the ball is snapped after that penalty. See referee Don Barker signaling the delay of game penalty.
On 3rd down, of course, a delay of game penalty results in a 10-yard assessment against the offending team.
Pretty be doubtful if Winnipeg will have time, excuse me, Donnie, of getting off a play. But if they do, they might well have an attempted field goal here, because they should have good field position. Plus Lefebvre gets away an awfully big punt.
Of course, now with that delay of game infraction, the clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Gary Lefebvre standing in his end zone. Winnipeg might well be wise to ground it almost immediately. However, it might not make any difference. The ball is taken by Merv Walker, and this should be the final play of the half. Walker still fighting, and he's down at the 37-yard line by Pete Lavorato, but time has run out. The final play of the first half, and the Edmonton Eskimos and Winnipeg Blue Bombers are no further ahead than they were 30 minutes ago. It's Edmonton 8, Winnipeg 8 after the first half of play. To tell us about the halftime show, let's join Ernie Afghani's.
All right, Don, and as everyone knows, the Shenley Award winners will be announced in Toronto during Grey Cup week. There are 5 categories, and we're going to review those for you and give you a chance to see just who is up for what award. Then, of course, we have Frank Rigney coming along, and Frank will tell us all about what happened in that first half of play and analyze it. Our halftime show continues in just a moment.
Presents Tammy Wynette. Tammy, a super album. 20 great hits of country superstar Tammy Wynette.
Good loving keeps the home together.
Her super hit. These songs and many more made Tammy Wynette a country superstar. Remember her first big hit.
Because you're good girls are gonna go bad.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wynette, and I'm very proud to be the #1 female artist on KTEL Records. Go out and buy my new album, won't you?
Get Tammy, a great new album, $6.99 from KTEL. Tape or cassette, $7.99.
Available at Woolworth, Zellers, Met Stores, Sam the Record Man, Stedman's, and McLeod's. Also available at Woolco Department Stores, Towers, and Woodward's.
If your old shoes still look new, you're not walking enough for your own good. Put them on right now and go for a walk. Walk a block a day. It's a beginning.
During Grey Cup week in Toronto, the Shenley Award winners will be announced. The ballots are all in. How do you pick them? First of all, in the Rookie of the Year category, Canadian Neil Lumsden of the Toronto Argonauts is the Eastern winner, a fullback in the true sense. Now, he can hit the line with power and also take that little pass outside. He carried the ball 85 times, averaged 4.8 yards a carry, was 7th in the East. He scored 3 touchdowns, and Neil Lumsden will be around for a long, long time. He's just a youngster. From the West comes John Shara of the BC Lions, an all-around athlete who came to the Lions as a quarterback. A bad arm shifted him to a receiver position and a punt return specialist. He was 4th in the West in punt returns and caught a total of 34 passes. As a quarterback, he threw 31 times, but passed for 2 TDs. He and Rocky Long have been very effective on kickoff and punt returns. John Shara, the Western Rookie of the Year. Dan Yoakum of the Montreal Alouettes is the Offensive Lineman of the Year in the East. Yoakum is a consistent lineman, big and strong, one of the best pass blockers in the CFL. Defensive linemen opposing him agree that he's probably one of the best to come down the pike in a long, long time. Unfortunately for Dan, the Grey Cup trip is off. They were knocked out by the Hamilton Tiger Cats yesterday afternoon. Yoakum's opponent from the West is Al Wilson of the BC Lions, a Canadian center who has for the past couple of years been considered the anchor in the BC Lions offensive line. Wilson not only protects well on passes, he's very reliable on the snap and gets much of the credit for the yardage gain by the Lion running backs. You know them, Mike Strickland and Lou Harris. Now, they gained close to 2,000 yards this year. This has been a good year for defensive linemen. Veteran Granny Liggins of the Toronto Argonauts is certainly one of the best. Liggins is quick, agile, and this has been Liggins' best year despite a very inconsistent season for the team. He can move in quickly on a running back and puts all kinds of pressure on a quarterback. Watch him move. Granny Liggins of the Toronto Argonauts. His opponent in the West comes from the BC Lions. And he's big and strong and has good speed. Baker's specialty is putting the pressure on quarterbacks. He just loves to sack them. On running plays, he's just as effective. Now, Bill Baker apparently is moving back to Regina on a company transfer. He still wants to compete, so it could be that he'll be sacking quarterbacks for the Saskatchewan Roughriders next year. Bill Baker is also a finalist in the Canadian player category, and his competitor there is Tony Gabriel of the Ottawa Roughriders. Now, Gabriel led all receivers in the CFL with 72 catches. Tall and lean, Gabriel shows he has speed this season, as Ottawa quarterbacks not only gave it to him short, but went to him on the long ones. He made some of the great catches in the CFL, scored a total of 14 touchdowns, which was tops in the league, and had a total of 1,320 yards. Jimmy Edwards, the fleet running back of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, is the Eastern choice as the outstanding player in the CFL. Now, he does everything. A brilliant punt return man, second only to Johnny Rogers. And he had a 103-yard return for a TD this year. As a running back, he was third in the East with 1,046 yards and a 5.4 average carry and 7 touchdowns there. What a great running back, Jimmy Edwards. Ronnie Lancaster of the Saskatchewan Roughriders is the Western choice. Now, how much can you say about this brilliant quarterback who has rewritten the passing records? This year, he had a 60% completion record and threw for 3,869 yards and 25 touchdowns. He now has 300 touchdowns. No other quarterback has ever done that. They say he may retire, but the way he's going, he could go on forever. Ronnie Lancaster of Saskatchewan. Those are the Shenley nominees. We'll know the results during Grey Cup week in Toronto. Our halftime show continues in just a moment.
Winter skies and countrysides, grab a dream and take a ride. Leave behind those worldly cares and follow the open air. And when you hear those friendly sounds, it's good times all around. It's a good time and you're happy. It's a good time for a blue. Time for smiling. Sailor that's blue. Blue smiles along with you.
I would like a position with a nice diversified company, please.
Yes, well, we do have lots of...
big zinc mines. Zinc is always nice.
Yes, ma'am.
And makes steel and develops oil and gas.
Yes, well,
and has hotels and
telecommunications.
Yes, some of those, too. One that builds big buildings and plants little trees.
Ah, yes,
and
well,
it must be in travel and transportation. My grandson loves trucks.
Well, ma'am, you're describing Canadian Pacific to a T.
Oh,
but
good.
Now, what position do you have in mind?
Owner.
Owner?
Charles.
Owner? But, ma'am, you
Sorry,
can't...
madam. No one person owns Canadian Pacific. We have over 76,000 owners, the majority of them Canadians all across the country. And that's something we're proud of. The ownership of our company is as diverse as the company itself.
How about chairman of the board?
Chairman of the board?
Today's Canadian Pacific, working for all Canadians in essential industries. This is CBC.
I think you should be able to hear what's going on here at Winnipeg Stadium in the background as a tremendous cannon is going off in celebration of halftime activities. It's not necessarily celebrating the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, although they did start out very well in the first half of this ball game. After Washington ran for 12 yards and Beard 17, Washington got the ball once again as Brock pitched out to the right side. He got outside of Stevenson, number 62, and Scott got a bit of a block on Ed Jones, 24 there. And watch as Washington goes 77 yards for the only major score of this ball game. Larry Highball almost catches up with him, but he's knocked off of making the tackle by one of his own ball players. Winnipeg defensively has been an extremely strong unit, particularly the addition of Don Hubbard, number 53. You'll see him here. He's working against Joe Warbuck, number 54, the left offensive guard of Edmonton, and you'll see Hubbard making one of the first sacks of this ball game as he gets to quarterback Bruce Limmerman. Limmerman was only successful on 2 out of 7 attempts until he was replaced by Tom Wilkinson. Wilkie has not had that much success throwing or running the football. He's 0 for 3 in the passing department. So Edmonton has only had 2 completions in 10 attempts. You'll see one of the biggest plays of the first half for the Eskimos right here as Limmerman hit Calvin Harrell, number 19, who was working against Bob Toogood, the linebacker, the outside linebacker for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and picked up 31 yards on that gain. That was the biggest play of the first half for the Eskimos. I mean offensively, because defensively they had 2 big plays. The first one provided by Ed Jones, number 24, the new defensive back that Edmonton picked up, replacing Wayne Mathern in the Edmonton defensive lineup, and you see him here making the interception on Brock, working against Tom Scott, number 21. And Brock was picked off once again, this time attempting to hit Gord Patterson, number 34, coming out of that backfield. This time, Pete Labarato, number 7, makes a tremendous timing effort and picks off the interception once again. Edmonton, however, could only convert these into Dave Cutler points, as Dave Cutler wound up with 8 points in that first half. The total for Edmonton, as a matter of fact, that ties the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And the score at halftime is 8-8, and down at field level, we have Ernie Afghani's with the Saskatchewan Roughrider head coach, John Payne.
All right, Frank, and I suppose the first question we should ask John Payne is, we know that you watch a lot of films, John. You know what these clubs are doing, yet you take the time to come to Winnipeg to see this semifinal. What can you see here that you don't see on the film?
Sometimes, Ernie, you can get a lot of information watching it live. You can time the kickers is one thing, the snaps. Plus, it gives you a little bit of a jump on players who might be injured. Sometimes you don't get that information at all, and
you don't believe our reports. Eh?
Well, that's right. Sometimes you know, coaches hide those things, but if you see the game live, you get a little bit of a jump on it.
Okay, and Frank, or John, I should say, when you see these ball clubs, when you see them work, you look for things that are almost, well, have happened before. Now, are these 2 ball clubs doing anything differently than they did, say, against you all season?
Well, I really can't point out anything particular that they're doing differently. Basically, I think they're doing what they've been doing all year, although I've noticed that maybe Winnipeg is not staying with one of their patterns blocking, one of their offensive schemes that's been really successful for them. They seem to have gotten away from that just a little bit in this game.
Anything drastic, though? Do you think?
No, not anything really drastic.
Now, Winnipeg has beaten your club 3 times this year, which is unusual, really. And right now it's a tie ball game. Are you hoping for any one team? Do you feel better against Edmonton or Winnipeg?
No, we don't, Ernie. We don't have any control over that. We'll just take whoever comes into Regina. This game, I think, is really a good ball game. It couldn't be any closer. 8-8 tie at halftime.
Your ball club has a couple of injuries, too. What is the status of Tom Campana, who's a brilliant back that you have?
Well, Tom is on the injured list right now. He hurt his ankle in the Calgary game and doesn't look very good right now. He's in a cast and will probably be in the cast for another 5 or 6 days.
Okay, John, thank you very much for coming down to talk to us. John Payne, the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the team that's awaiting the winner of this game in the final. We'll return with a second half kickoff right after this.
At Canadian Pacific, we're deeply involved in mining. And I'm about to give you some in-depth facts on the work of our mining subsidiary, Cominco Limited. We're one of the world's largest miners of lead and zinc. Over 8 million tons of ore a year in Canada, the United States, and Greenland. We're one of the largest producers of chemical fertilizers in North America. Coal, we mine almost 3 million tons a year. Silver and gold, 9 million ounces. But the most important fact is that right now we're exploring and developing new mines in Australia, Spain, Mexico, Greenland, the Arctic. At Canadian Pacific, we know that as long as exploration and development are at the bottom of what we do, we're headed for the top in mining.
Today's Canadian Pacific, working for all Canadians in essential industries.
The statistical story in that first half is rather interesting. Winnipeg picked up 96 yards on their first 3 plays that led to that Jay Washington touchdown. But since then, they have been identical with the Eskimos along the ground. Look at that passing statistic. Just 1 yard for Winnipeg. Ralph Brock has had some problems. In terms of total offense, 150 yards for Winnipeg, 79 for Edmonton. But of course, we point out again that 96 of those yards came on that very first sequence for the Bombers that led to the game's only touchdown. 2 turnovers have certainly hurt Winnipeg. They have led to kicking points by Dave Cutler. And as we prepare to start this second half, it's an 8-all ball game. The Eskimos and the Blue Bombers in a stalemate in this sudden death Western semifinal. The winner, of course, going on to face the Saskatchewan Roughriders next weekend.
Probably should mention, Don, in the event that the 2 ball clubs are still tied at the end of regulation time, we understand there will be 2 overtime periods of 10 minutes each, broken in half by a 1-minute rest period in which they switch ends. The possibility of overtime certainly looms large at this point in time.
Well, Frank, over the years we've grown accustomed to seeing some wild and rather hectic action in Western semifinal and final playoff activity. I don't think 1976 is going to be any different. Some of the fans over on the far side of the field are quite pleased and satisfied with the efforts of the Blue Bomber Football Club in 1976. Bud Riley certainly had some of the heat taken off him after a very slow start. When the Bombers had a record of just 1 win and 4 losses, they came storming back to finish with 9 wins in their final 11 games.
And they felt, Don, that the turning point of their season was right here in Winnipeg Stadium in a ball game that CBC broadcast against the BC Lions, in which the Lions were winning by 2 touchdowns. I believe the score was 20-7, and Winnipeg came storming back and salvaged that ball game. I believe the final score was 22-20, and that more or less turned the Winnipeg season all the way around.
The man who turned it around was Harry Knight, Winnipeg's backup quarterback. When we talked with Bud Riley last night and asked if Ralph Brock was unable to move the offense, would he hesitate to go with Harry Knight? And he said not at all.
Well, Ralph's only 3 for 9 so far today, Don, for 1 yard, so maybe we'll lose to Harry before the day's over.
Beard takes Cutler's kickoff to get this second half underway at the 5, and he's out to the 31-yard line. Stopped there by York Henschel. That was a kickoff of 59 yards and a run back of 25 yards by Steve Beard. Winnipeg with Bob Swift at center, Chuck Lebrock and Buddy Brown at guard, Bill Frank and Butch Norman as the tackles, Gord Patterson and Mark McDonald the wide receivers, Ralph Brock the quarterback with Bob LaRose, Jay Washington, Steve Beard and Tommy Scott. At the 31, Winnipeg, 1st and 10. Brock, as you see, good on only 3 of 9 attempts for just 1 yard passing this afternoon. Washington started wide, tried to cut back into the middle, and was straightened up by 4 Edmonton defenders led by Ron Este.
Don, that play was messed up by middle linebacker Dan Kepley, number 42, and we can see him on the left side of your screen. If we start the play up, you'll see him come across that line of scrimmage and knock Bill Frank, number 64, right off an attempted trap block there and force Washington to the outside. Finally, Ron Este and Ed Jones, etc., make the stop, limiting the gain to 3 yards.
2nd and 7. Brock throwing it out to Steve Beard. Beard is caught immediately by Tom Towns. Depending on where they place this ball, it could be a first down. Steve Beard, who suffered an ankle injury a couple of weeks ago against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in a game over at Taylor Field, again is limping and appears to be favoring that ankle. Beard's forward progress apparently is going to produce a measurement as referee Don Barker calls for the yardsticks from the far side of the field. It is just short of a first down, and the Bombers are going for it. 3rd and less than a yard.
Well, I think Bud Riley is actually doing the right thing, Don, in my opinion. He's showing out his confidence in his offensive unit. I'm sure they won't come up with anything fancy here. Brock will probably quarterback sneak. They have less than a yard to go for their first down.
Brock keeps, and he should have the first down as he drove straight ahead behind center Bob Swift. And it is a Winnipeg first down. An 8-all football game, Winnipeg and Edmonton in this sudden death Western semifinal. Yesterday, of course, Hamilton defeated Montreal 23-0 in the Eastern semifinal. Hamilton will now face Ottawa next weekend on Sunday afternoon in the Eastern final. There's the pitch to Washington on the short side. Good defensive play by Tom Towns. He came up to make that tackle a yard into the Winnipeg backfield. Bruce Lemmerman over at the Edmonton bench, again warming up. He had some problems moving the Eskimos. Tom Wilkinson took over in the second quarter, but he couldn't really generate much either. So perhaps Ray Yawk is going to come back with Lemmerman in this third quarter.
Hard to tell, Donnie, because actually both Edmonton quarterbacks are warming up on the far side over there. Tom Wilkinson has a jacket on.
Second and 11, and it's incomplete. The pass intended for Gord Patterson. Pete Laverato was the man who knocked it down with help from Tom Towns. So Winnipeg will be forced to give up the football on a 3rd and 11 kicking situation.
And I think Tom Towns, number 20, the outside linebacker of Edmonton, comes up with another big play here. First of all, he takes a shot at Patterson and misses, but it appeared to me that he did get a piece of that ball before it got to Patterson. He was in front and Laverato behind. Good defense by Edmonton.
Holloman and Highbaugh are back for this third down kick by Bernie Ruoff. Holloman takes it at the 25. And he's out to the 33-yard line. Elton Brown was there to make contact with him. Tom Wilkinson is still at the controls for the Edmonton Eskimos as they run their first offensive series in this third quarter. Steve Beard doing a little tape job at that Winnipeg bench. A 42-yard kick by Ruoff and a 7-yard run back by Holloman.
Not really surprising to see Wilkinson in there, Don. As you know, he's probably feeling better than he has all season for the Eskimos. Had some problems with a tennis elbow.
That quick pass to Don Warrington. Warrington at the 40 trying to struggle out to the 42. Lee Bernard upset him at that point.
It's Warrington's first catch of the afternoon and Tom Wilkinson's first completion. He just comes out of the backfield, dumps it out in the flat here. He picks up about 8.5, 9 yards. Bernard making the stop. Wilkinson has not had a good year against these Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Going into this ball game in the first 3 encounters, he's only completed 10 passes out of 28 attempts. So, including today's play, he's less than 1/3 on his attempted throws against Winnipeg.
Second and 1 from the 42. Calvin Harrell straight ahead. Depending on where they mark this ball, it should be a first down.
Harry Walters, number 52, the fellow many people consider the premier middle linebacker in Canada at this point, makes a stop on a play, but not before Harrell picks up a first down. That's the first down of this half for either ball club.
We have 10 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in this third quarter. Winnipeg 8, Edmonton 8. Down goes wide left. Lefebvre comes out to the right. Wilkinson gives it to Strickland, and Strickland fights his way to the 50-yard line, a gain of 6. Tackled by Brian Hirosian and John Babinez.
Tell you, Don, if you see a successful draw play, it's usually because somebody picks off the middle linebacker, the fellow we were just discussing, and that's Harry Walters. Watch left offensive tackle Willie Turner, number 50. If we start it up right here, you'll see him get a good shot on Walters coming from the side and allowing Strickland to get up through there and make that gain. Now back to live action.
Second and 4. Wilkinson throwing. Gary Lefebvre's got it across midfield for an Eskimo first down at the Winnipeg 54. He was brought down by Merv Walker as Elton Brown was coming through on quarterback Tom Wilkinson, applying pressure.
It's a little crossing pattern between Warrington and Lefebvre there, and Tom Wilkinson's being very patient with his offense right now, and we hope you'll be patient because we're going to pause for 1 minute. We'll be right back after this.
Beavers. Efficient little rascals. When they cut a tree, they use every last bit. For homes, dams, food. At Canadian Pacific, we're a lot like the beaver. We use every last bit of the log, too, at our subsidiary, Great Lakes Paper in Thunder Bay. Biggest plant of its kind in the country, by the way. Come on, I'll show you efficiency.
We use the log to make studs for building. Wood chips for craft pulp used in quality paper products. Ground wood pulp for newsprint. Flakes for wafer board used in building. And sawdust and shavings for particle board used for cupboards and furniture. Tree bark as fuel saves hydropower. You see, no waste. The whole log is turned into useful products right here. At Canadian Pacific, we're busy as beavers in forest products.
And just as efficient, too.
Today's Canadian Pacific, working for all Canadians in essential industries.
24,320 watching the action this afternoon as Bruce Lemmerman warms up at the bench as Tom Wilkinson directs the attack for the Eskimos. A first down at Winnipeg's 54-yard line. 9:51 is the time remaining in this third quarter. We've got a tie ball game. Winnipeg 8 and Edmonton 8. A penalty flag goes down as Strickland is stopped at the 50 by Harry Walters.
I think, Don, however, we've got a holding call, and it appeared to me to be number 56, Ernie Kirk, the right offensive guard. In any event, let's take a look at him, number 56, right there, and see if he was the one called for the holding infraction. Appeared that he had hooked Dave Neckel, number 65. I think that is a holding call.
Frank, if I could add something here.
Take a look at it once again. You see Kirk grabbing him right there. Sorry, Ernie. You see that holding call against Edmonton. What do you have?
No, Frank, you had the right man there. If I could add something here, Tom Wilkinson appeared to have hurt his arm just a little bit on the play before that last one when he threw to Lefebvre. And we can see Lemmerman warming up. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom came out of the game pretty soon.
A repeat of first down, first and 20. The pass complete to Calvin Harrell. He's got some running room as he goes down the sidelines to the 35. Stopped by Merv Walker, but a big conversion for the Edmonton Eskimos as Wilkinson to Harrell produces an Edmonton first down.
29-yard pickups. Watch Calvin Harrell in the move he puts on Lee Bernard, 26, right there, to ensure that first down for Edmonton. Their third first down of this drive. First down at the Winnipeg 35-yard line. 8:55 remaining in the third quarter.
And McGowan goes wide to the left. Lefebvre comes out to the right. Wilkinson to Strickland, and Strickland fights his way to the 25, very close to a first down. It appeared for a moment as though he was going to be stopped after a gain of about 2, but he kept right on driving.
Good trap by Charlie Turner, number 60, coming down from his right offensive tackle spot. The stop finally made by Dave Neckel, 65, and Too Good, 78. Would be a third and just about a foot. Excellent position. I'm sorry, Don, you're right. Second down. Excellent position for Tom Wilkinson possibly to throw the football.
Wilkinson gives straight ahead to Harrell, trying to get that first down. To make sure of that, Alton Brown drove Harrell back, but I think he has enough for a first down. Well, we have an opportunity, a reminder to all football fans in the nation capital about the Eastern Final to take place 1 week from today when the Ottawa Rough Riders face the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Good seats for that game are available, and they'll go on sale to the general public beginning tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the Ottawa ticket office. Strickland down to the 21. A gain of about 3 on the first down play. Chuck Wills came in to pull the feet out from under the Edmonton running back. And with 7 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in this third quarter, we have a timeout with the score tied at 8-all.
Name's finished, Harry.
Okay, Sam.
Canadian Pacific.
How come it's on a map of the world?
That's a worldwide company, Sam.
Canadian Pacific? It's a Canadian company, but it operates worldwide.
In mining, transportation, hotels, petroleum, steel, and forest products. It's a worldwide company, Sam.
Yeah? Then why don't they call it Canadian Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic,
Today's Canadian Pacific, working for all Canadians in essential industries, at home and abroad.
2nd and 8 for the Eskimos. Ball is just outside the Winnipeg 21. Wilkinson throwing into the end zone for Lefebvre. Herb Walker knocked it down. It looked as though Walker had an interception. He appeared to have an excellent shot at picking off that attempted pass from Wilkinson to Lefebvre, but he couldn't hang on, and that's the 3rd time Winnipeg defensive backs seem to have certain interceptions this afternoon, only to drop them.
Well, he certainly had good coverage. You see Lefebvre trying to put a move on him right here. Walker just stayed right with Lefebvre right up at the end zone. The ball bounces off Walker's chest. You're absolutely right, Don. Should have been another Winnipeg interception. However, Cutler will be attempting a 3-pointer here for Edmonton. They can go ahead at this point.
Kick comes from 29 yards out. It is up. It is good. And for the first time this afternoon, the Edmonton Eskimos have gone into the lead 11-8. They're in front of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We talked about next Sunday's Eastern Final involving Ottawa and Hamilton. Well, of course, that game will be blacked out in Ottawa, but will be seen across the rest of the country. And for the television viewers who are looking in, that game will feature at halftime some of the highlights of Grey Cup games of previous years. Some of those games involving Winnipeg, if you look closely, you might be able to see number 67, the fearless member of that Winnipeg offensive unit of days gone by, none other than Frank Rigney.
Well, folks, if you can't see him, I'll be down there, and I'll be glad to try and point it out to you. But, Donnie, tell them about Hockey Night in Canada.
Next Saturday, Hockey Night in Canada features the Minnesota North Stars and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Check your local listing for the telecast time in your area. Steve Beard takes the kickoff at his own 10. And he runs out of room at the 30-yard line. Forced out of bounds by John Konahowski.
Konahowski appeared to hurt his hand pushing Beard out of bounds there. I think the sideline area down there is very, very hard. It's a beautiful day we've got for playoff action here in Winnipeg, but the ground has been frozen in the night. Beard ran that one back 20 yards after Cutler's 64-yard kickoff. Konahowski appears to be going off the field in some pain.
It's been a rough year for Konahowski. He was hurt early in the season and returned for the Eskimos' final league game. We sincerely hope that he is not injured on that play, at least not seriously enough to keep him out of the lineup. Steve Beard got back to the line of scrimmage and not much further. Middle linebacker Dan Kepley made another big play for the Eskimos.
And Don, the reason he made such a good play is he reads the offensive pull by the right guard as he's coming out to the left side trying to trap him, and he just steps up in that hole after reading Chuck Liebrock's pull and makes a stop in Winnipeg's backfield. Beard does manage to pick up 1 yard, but good reaction by Dan Kepley, number 42, middle linebacker of Edmonton.
2nd and 9 for the Blue Bombers. Brock is under pressure. He's going to run it. He gets the block to get outside and then goes out of bounds, and he's going to be very close to a first down. Jay Washington threw a key block to enable Brock to go outside for what appears to be a first down.
He's got the first down all right, Donnie. He's up to the 43-yard line. He only had to get to the 42. Bob LaRose also got a piece of a block there. Bill Frank had gotten a shot. There's a block on Towns that you mentioned. And that's LaRose, number 71. You see Brock and Highball have a little pushing session right there. It's Jim Heighton you're looking at the Winnipeg bench, but Winnipeg has got another first down. They're first of the second half, I believe. No, they're second.
5:46 is the time remaining in this third quarter. Edmonton leads 11-8. The fake by Brock. throwing up the middle. It's no! I thought it was going to be picked off by Ed Jones.
And
Brock
so did Ed Jones.
Brock underthrew the intended receiver, Steve Beard, and Jones was in perfect position for an interception.
You see the pitch fake here by Brock trying to pull that defensive backfield in of Edmonton. Beard is just streaking down the field as fast as he can go, and as you say, Don, the ball was well underthrown. Jones should have had his second interception of this ball game. Tom Wilkinson getting that tennis elbow worked on the Edmonton bench.
It is 2nd and 10, Winnipeg. Brock throwing well over the head of Tommy Scott, the intended receiver. So it will be 3rd and 10, Winnipeg. And Ralph Brock has had problems finding those receivers this afternoon.
Winnipeg fans are not very happy with Brock. Of course, the only occasion which we saw his backup was the game that we were talking about earlier, Don, in that BC Lion game when Harry Knight came in and engineered a tremendous comeback effort. We may see him in this ball game. Brock is now 4 for 13 on the first 2.5 quarters of this ball game.
There's an injured Edmonton ball player. Dave Fennell is down at the 45-yard line. He's had a good ball game for the Eskimos this afternoon. Fennell has also had some injury problems this year. He's in his 4th year with the Eskimos. He, Bill Stevenson, Cal Miller, and Ron Este, the front 4 of the Eskimos. They were burned early in the ball game, but have certainly settled down since then. Ruoff stands at his own 28. Not one of his better kicks. Larry Highbaugh moves up. He bobbled it momentarily, and then he's brought down at the 32. Randy Halsell was downfield to make the tackle, the 37-yard kick and the 2-yard run back. You see Dave Fennell being treated over at that Edmonton bench. Tom Wilkinson still at quarterback for the Eskimos. They're at their own 31. Good fake by Wilkinson. The pass is complete to Tyrone Walls at the 41. Stopped immediately by Brian Hirosian.
Walls certainly paid for that reception, which picked up almost 10 yards, about 9 on the play. It's the second reception of the afternoon, but he was really drilled by Hirosian.
Frank, one of the big things the Eskimos have going for them in this 3rd quarter is ball control. They used up a lot of time. They only picked up 3 points, but it took them 5 minutes and 18 seconds to get it. They keep whittling away that clock, as well as chewing up some yardage. Calvin Harrell, in the middle of that pileup, was driven back. Let's see where they mark his forward progress.
Big effort by Winnipeg defensively. It's certainly questionable whether Harrell picked up the first down. They will be calling for a measurement. There's 3:51 remaining in the 3rd quarter of this ball game. The Edmonton Eskimos are leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 11-8.
It is a first down for the Eskimos. Let's take another look at that play.
Well, it's hard to pick out a Winnipeg defender who made that stop. It appeared to be 4 or 5 of them. However, Edmonton has a first down at their own 42-yard line.
3 minutes and 43 seconds, the time left in this 3rd quarter. Good fake by Wilkinson, up the middle for Warrington, knocked away. A fine defensive play by Bernard. Warrington had that ball just inches away from his outstretched hands when Bernard knocked it down.
I think Don Warrington already thought he'd caught the ball. Watch Bernard, number 26, knock it away just at the last instant. Great defensive play.
It's 2nd and 10 for the Eskimos. Wilkinson is 4 for 9 in the passing department. The draw play with Strickland. Strickland, good hole. All the way down to the Winnipeg 46-yard line. He showed some of that speed once he got open and came very close to breaking it all the way.
Well, they got inside of Don Hubbard and Dave Neckel right up the middle on that draw. You see Harry Walters fall off of Strickland there, and Strickland has moved the ball all the way to Winnipeg's 47-yard line. We'll have Edmonton's first down right after this.
At Canadian Pacific, we think of the work of Pan-Canadian Petroleum, our oil and gas subsidiary. Something like this. You see, searching for new supplies of oil and gas is the most important work we do. Our earth scientists, using all the skills of modern technology, define likely areas, and then we drill, so we can look under the earth's crust. We don't always find the oil or gas we're looking for, because nature hides it well. But we're one of the most active drillers in Canada. And as the largest Canadian company in the business, we spend about $50 million a year in exploration and development. You might say that at Canadian Pacific, we're very well drilled in the oil and gas business. Today's Canadian Pacific, working for all Canadians in essential industries.
Ray Yark anxiously looking on from the east side bench of the Edmonton Eskimos as his club is in a first down situation at the 47 of Winnipeg. There seemed to be some confusion as the Eskimos tried to get that play underway, and it's whistled down. Referee Don Barker calls the Eskimos for the time clock violation. The Eskimos took too long in putting that ball into play. Signals referee Barker. A 5-yard penalty is tacked on, and that moves the ball back to the 52. It will now be 1st and 15. Wilkinson throwing complete to Warrington. Warrington on the sidelines is bounced out of bounds at the 41 by Lee Bernard.
Well, Don, this is really a big play as the Eskimos will face a 2nd and 4 situation after that 11-yard pickup by Warrington. They can continue this drive. They can put this ball game 10-point lead in this ball game if they can move it in for a converted touchdown. Edmonton leads 11-8, 2:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Referee Don Barker calls a halt to activity on the field and comes over to the sideline.
I think there's some discussion about the time clock, Don, it appears.
I think he may have detected a slight delay in the clock starting, and he was informed by the official on the sideline that they were just correcting the official time on the clock. In the second half, Wilkinson is 5 for 5 in the passing department, although that isn't correct because he did have that one incomplete pass intended for Warrington earlier.
Right, Don. Lee Bernard made a great defensive play on that one.
However, he completes that pass to Don Warrington, and that is a first down to the 30-yard line with Brian Hirosian making the tackle. A big conversion on that second down pass. Wilkinson to Warrington, and the Eskimos keep the drive alive at the 31.
All of a sudden, Warrington has become a favored receiver of Tom Wilkinson. His 3rd reception of this second half. Hirosian makes a stop, but not before Edmonton gets another first down. They're on Winnipeg's 31-yard line.
Just a minute and 52 seconds remain in this 3rd quarter. Lefebvre is wide to the left. McGowan comes out right. Strickland is caught by Hubbard at the 30-yard line.
Great play by Don Hubbard from the backside as he saw guard Joe Warbuck pull away. That's Hubbard right there. He's playing in front of Warbuck, and he just follows Joe Warbuck right down the line of scrimmage after Warbucket pulled out, makes a stop for Winnipeg, limits the gain to 1 yard, so it'll be 2nd and 9, another critical 2nd down conversion area for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Wilkinson to Warrington again, and Warrington very close to a first down in the vicinity of the 21.
John, it's fairly easy to see why this play works, because all 3 of the linebackers you see on your screen there to the left side, all 3 of them come blitzing on the play, leaving the short area wide open with the defensive backs trying to have to cover those receivers very short. Warrington is very, very close to another Eskimo first down.
Well, Winnipeg fans have had very little to cheer about since that first sequence of the ball game. That Edmonton defensive unit has stymied what usually has been a most potent Winnipeg attack. And now, under the direction of Tom Wilkinson, the Eskimos are exercising ball control as they have moved into a 3-point lead and are threatening to increase that advantage.
Bruce Limmerman has come into the ball game, Don. That's a bit of a surprise. I guess just on that 3rd and short yardage situation. Probably to run a quarterback sneak.
That's your prediction, is it, Frank? A quarterback sneak by Limmerman? Hey, you're having a perfect afternoon. Limmerman drives it straight ahead, and that should be a first down as Wilkinson comes back onto the field. And Limmerman, once he emerges from that pile-up, will head to the Edmonton bench.
That will be my last prediction.
Mission accomplished for Bruce Limmerman as he heads to the Edmonton bench. It's a first down for the Eskimos at the 20. Just 38 seconds remain in this 3rd quarter.
I don't know the exact time, but it appears to me, or feels to me, that Edmonton's had this ball the whole 3rd quarter.
Going nowhere. Harry Walters came through from that middle linebacking position, and John Babinez was also blitzing from the outside.
That's right, John. Watch John Babinez, number 70, come through up through the middle here, along with Harry Walters, and he runs right into Strickland, who's running that draw play. Walters gets the first piece of him, and Babinez puts the final touch on him. A 3-yard loss, 2nd and 13 for Edmonton.
And this should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Second and 13. Wilkinson under pressure. He throws into the end zone. It's picked up. Intercepted by Lee Bernard. And Bernard, who had originally indicated he was going to try to run it out of there, goes down on one knee in the end zone.
Don, I think we've got a situation here where Tom Wilkinson actually threw that ball once he was past the line of scrimmage. There is a penalty on the play. You'll see it here. The ball was scrimmaged at the 23-yard line. We can pick it up as to where he released the football. You'll see a secondary shot there. Wills finally makes the interception deep in the end zone. We didn't see where Wilkie actually threw the ball from, but I believe he threw it from over the line of scrimmage. Let's see once again as he attempts to take off here. That's the 30. Now the 25. Oh, he's definitely down to the 21-yard line before he releases the football.
Winnipeg, of course, has the option. They can either penalize the Eskimos and allow them to repeat the down, or they can take the interception. I don't think there's much doubt about which option they will exercise. They are going to take the football.
That could be very, very costly, Don, because it not only gives a turnover up, but it also gives almost an automatic 3 points, as Dave Cutler would have come into the ball game. But that is the end of the 3rd quarter, with the Edmonton Eskimos leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 11-8.
You're looking good, Buick. Blue jean jacket, Bogart coat, biker shades, or black Borsalino. It's you I love, you know. Hey, you know that I love your faded work shirt, toque chapeau, dirty socks, or suit from Savile Row. It's all the same, you know. Hey, you know that I think that you look good, darling.
You're looking good in any one of the beautiful new Buicks, like LeSabre, completely redesigned. More front headroom, more rear legroom, more usable trunk space. 100% Buick. Quiet and luxurious. Buick, dedicated to the free spirit in just about everyone.
Can't hide the you've got inside.
It was 1909, the first official Grey Cup winners, the University of Toronto. And here are some of the players that were on that team. You'll see them in one of the many fine displays at the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in Hamilton.
Well, Frank mentioned that it seemed as though the Eskimos had the ball for almost all of that third quarter. The time clock shows that they had it for 2/3 of that third quarter, and overall, they've had the ball about 6 minutes longer than the Blue Bombers. Winnipeg now with a first down at the 10-yard line. Ralph Brock is still the quarterback. He started the ball game for the Bombers, and they have made no changes. Jay Washington tried to get outside, brought down by Dale Potter with help from Dan Kepley. And Washington stays on the turf.
And you have to wonder whether or not Edmonton had picked up something from Winnipeg's snap count there or something, because Bill Stevenson, big number 62, the left defensive end, look how wide he's playing. The next defensive lineman is way to his inside. He'd come way out on offensive tackle Butch Norman, or guard Patterson, actually the slot back, to get to the outside. He forces Washington deep and allows Potter time to get up and help make the stop. That was Dan Kepley coming from the inside, the middle linebacker.
Washington, as you saw, seemed to be in a lot of pain as he went back into that Winnipeg huddle. Brock throwing, it's incomplete. A penalty flag is down, intended for Scott. Jones is being called on interference. There's also another flag further downfield.
Well, Brock really drilled this ball to Tommy Scott. You'll see this secondary shot. You'll see Scott at the bottom of your picture coming in and making a break to the inside. And you'll see Jones, number 24, making what I thought was an excellent play. However, the officials called him for interference. A big break for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
It's first down, Winnipeg. The ball is at their own 21. 13:53, the time left in the game. Just 3 points separating these two teams as Beard is running behind Bill Frank and out to the 27, caught there by Bill Stevenson. Beard again limping as he goes back to that Winnipeg huddle. Not fully recovered from an ankle injury incurred in a game in Regina about 3 weeks ago. The pass complete to Gordy Patterson for a first down out to the 40-yard line. John Farlinger made the tackle.
You see Patterson here just trying to find the seam between the defensive backs and linebackers of Edmonton, and he does so very well on this one.
The ball is at the 40 now. It's first down for the Bombers. Straight ahead with Jay Washington. Good hold. Washington to the 52 of the Eskimos.
John, watch a tremendous block by Chuck Liebrock, number 54, the right offensive guard. You see him circled right here. He's working against Calvin Miller, number 77, and he just blows the Edmonton Eskimos right out of there. I'm sorry, that's Dan Kepley. Bring it back 1 second. Stop it right there. You'll see Liebrock's block on Kepley. Tremendous job. Now back to live action. The Bombers with a first down at the 52 of the Eskimos. That little swing pass to Washington on the sideline. He's going to be close to another first down. A good comeback block by Gord Patterson on Dale Potter. Potter appeared to have the angle on Washington, but Patterson came back to bounce him out of the play. And you'll see that block, I'm sure, Don, that you called. Patterson on Potter, number 30, as we just see this little swing pass. This is Potter coming into your screen, and Patterson picking him off right there. Laborado finally makes a stop, an 8-yard pickup for Jay Washington.
It's now 2nd and 2 Winnipeg as the Bombers have come to life in this final quarter and the fans have responded. Washington sidestepping his way for a first down. The leading rusher in the West moving down to the 37-yard line.
Tremendous effort by Bob Swift, the offensive center of Winnipeg. Watch him, he's number 44. He cleans out Calvin Miller, and Washington gets in that gap. Washington's picked up most of his yardage early in this ball game, but he now has 160 in total for the day.
Handoff to Steve Beard, and Beard at the 35 is stopped and driven back. 11 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this ball game. Edmonton 11, Winnipeg 8. And remember, in the event of a tie after regulation time, there will be overtime.
You mean there'll be overtime down here, or we get overtime? Which is it?
I kind of like to see a little of the latter, but it might be the former. Brock is in trouble. He throws to Steve Beard. That's a first down and a few yards more. It appeared as though Brock was going to be dumped for a loss.
I'll tell you, he did a tremendous job of just getting away from the big rush from the Edmonton Eskimos. You see Beard faked right there and then slipping to the outside. He's eventually the pass receiver as Brock finds him open, and finally Labarato, number 18, finally makes a stop down at the Edmonton Eskimo 23-yard line. Winnipeg is on the move.
It's first down, Winnipeg. The ball is at the 22. Jay Washington runs out of room at the 19. Bill Stevenson came across, and there's Washington and Holloman engaging in a bit of shoving. However, cooler heads prevail as they quickly step between the two ball players, and with 9:49 remaining in the fourth quarter, let's pause for this timeout.
Car for car. Every size, every class. Pontiac challenges the competition. Want good gas mileage? Get a Pontiac.
Pontiac, the mileage maker.
Based on Transport Canada approved test methods, Pontiac 77 Parisienne is rated at 28 miles per gallon highway, 20 city. Fuel economy with family comfort. The completely new Parisienne, a Pontiac mileage maker.
Pontiac, the mileage maker.
The smart little Acadian and Astra, the sporty Sunbird and Firebird, the compact Ventura, Le Mans, Grand Prix, the all-new Parisienne. For 1977, Pontiac challenges the competition.
Pontiac, the mileage maker.
Calvin Miller, you see on the right of your screen, heading to the Edmonton bench, injured on that last play. Miller, this season, prior to joining the Eskimos, played with both Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. He'll be replaced by York Henschel. Mark McDonald at the Winnipeg bench, being looked at by trainer Chuck Babcock. Tommy Walker is now in there for the Blue Bombers, replacing Mark McDonald. It is 2nd and 6 for Winnipeg. Bob LaRose couldn't hang on. LaRose was open. He couldn't squeeze the ball. He had broke away from his coverage, Joe Holloman, and was open.
Super fake as well by Brock as he spun out, coming out from underneath center Bob Swift, and Bob LaRose is just wide open. Absolutely no excuse for this, and he knows it. Right on target by Ralph Brock, the Winnipeg quarterback. Creates a kicking situation as Bernie Ruoff comes in this ball game trying to tie it up. You see what he's done so far this afternoon.
Kick is up. It is wide. And it goes for a single point as it sails through the end zone. So with 9:09 left in the ball game, Ruoff for the third consecutive time misses on a field goal attempt. A dejected Bob LaRose, who appeared to have that pass for a first down, is at the sidelines, and Ruoff comes off to the Winnipeg bench. The scoring leader in the CFL this year with 142 points has missed on all three field goal attempts this afternoon. 11-9. Edmonton leads Winnipeg with 9:04 remaining in the game. It's a first down for the Eskimos at the 35. There's no running room up the middle. Harry Walters stopped Strickland right at the 35.
Hey, Jim Heighton did a tremendous job as well. Number 58, you'll see him here circled. He comes down the line of scrimmage meeting Charlie Turner's trap block, and he stacks up everything right in the middle there. Gain is only a foot on the play.
Mid-second and almost 10 for the Eskimos. The ball is fumbled. Winnipeg, I believe, has recovered. Elton Brown scooped it up. What an alert ball hawk Elton Brown has been since joining Winnipeg. That is the 7th time that he has pounced on a fumble this year.
And obviously the most significant, you'll see Brown at the top of your screen here. They're trying to hand off to Strickland. He really never gets the ball from his quarterback, and Elton Brown, 63, gets the biggest break of this ball game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 8:06 remaining.
It's Winnipeg now with a first down at the 31 of the Eskimos. Washington straight ahead. Good run to about the 22. Middle linebacker Dan Kepley made the stop on Jay Washington. 7:44 is the time left in the ball game. 11-9. The Eskimos lead Winnipeg.
I believe we're going to have a measurement down as a concerned Ray Yawk looks on. Winnipeg offensive line appears to have really gotten fired up all of a sudden here with 7.5 minutes remaining in this ball game. They really blew Edmonton's defense out of there. Jay Washington is very close to a first down. It appears he'll miss it by about a foot or so.
173 yards is Washington's rushing total. Well, there's a little more enthusiasm for those two optimistic gentlemen now as they head around Winnipeg Stadium with that sign. For a while there, the fans at Winnipeg Stadium were extremely quiet, particularly in that third quarter when Edmonton was dominating. On second down, Steve Beard ran into a brick wall at that line of scrimmage. They may have stopped him.
I'll tell you, that's Ron Este, number 55, who really drills Beard right at the line of scrimmage. Tremendous play by the former BC Lion, Ron Este. He comes down from his right end position. Watch him, he's number 55. And he hits Beard right at the line of scrimmage, knocking him back. Finally, Dave Neckel also, should say Dave Fennell, gets a piece of him. The initial hit was by Ron Este.
Well, on third down, Winnipeg is gambling. Third and inches. Brock keeps it. He's got a first down. He's to the 19. And we have 7 minutes and 3 seconds left in the ball game. We also have a timeout with the Edmonton Eskimos leading Winnipeg by a score of 11-9.
When the neighbors come over, the beer that comes out is Labatt's 50, Canada's favorite ale.
What kind is it?
This is an Acer Platinoid.
Oh, what? It's a maple. Hi, you want a beer? Thanks.
You like 50, and it's just that simple. You don't have to explain it. You just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
Well, the Blue Bombers have a first down at the Edmonton 20-yard line. Jay Washington straight ahead, spinning his way to about the 12. Tom Towns made the tackle.
He breaks a couple of tackles before Towns hits him from the outside. It's a bit of a delay play there. A big block by Bill Frank. And Dave Fennell, number 65. Towns finally makes a stop after an 8-yard gain.
Second and 2, Winnipeg. I'm sure they'll drive it straight ahead, keeping the ball directly in front of those uprights in the event they don't make the first down. Well, no, they decide to go outside. Washington started to cut back in, and then he was downed at the 15-yard line by Calvin Miller. Well, Bernie Ruoff comes into the ball game again to attempt another field goal.
Big play there, Don, by Calvin Miller, number 77 out of Oklahoma State. He also played in the WFL with Birmingham and was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a moment. The biggest play he's made, I'm sure, as a Edmonton Eskimos. You see Ruoff's efforts so far this afternoon.
Kick is up. It is good. And with 5:43 left in the game, Winnipeg leads 12-11.
I don't know why, Don, we always seem to have a wild and woolly finish in the playoffs here in the Western Conference. Certainly this is going to be no exception as Winnipeg leads by just 1 point.
You know, when you look at previous games this season involving these two teams, they put a lot of points on the board. Edmonton won the first, 31-30. Then it was Winnipeg 28, Edmonton 17, Winnipeg 36, Edmonton 33. This 23-point production this afternoon, far below what these two teams have put on the board in previous encounters. Well, it was ball control by Edmonton in the third quarter. And here in the fourth, Winnipeg has had the football for 8 minutes and 17 seconds. Next Sunday afternoon, you'll see the CFL Eastern Final on the full CBC television network, the Hamilton Tiger Cats against the Ottawa Roughriders. Larry Highbaugh, ever dangerous on a kicking team. He's back along with Joe Holloman. The ball bounces to Highbaugh at the 9-yard line. There's the fake to Holloman. Highbaugh runs into traffic, and he's downed at the 18 by Elton Brown.
I'll tell you, Elton Brown, who made the big fumble recovery just moments ago, number 63, doesn't go for this fake at all by Larry Highbaugh. He just comes down and is intent on stopping the little Eskimo punt returner, and he does exactly that. That's Don Warrington, and he gets away from right there and makes a stop. Only an 8-yard run back by Larry Highbaugh. First down, Edmonton on their own 18-yard line.
George McGowan comes out to the left. Lemmerman is back in at quarterback for the Eskimos. Incomplete. He underthrew Don Warrington, who was open at about the 40-yard line.
It almost appeared that Lemmerman was aiming this ball, trying to get it there very quickly, as Winnipeg has almost picked off 2 or 3 of his passes. Warrington was wide open, as you mentioned, Don, working against Lee Bernard, number 26. Warrington has been the primary receiver in this second half for Edmonton, but he's gone off the field at this point.
Stu Lang comes in as Warrington goes to the bench. Lemmerman has completed just 2 of 8 attempts. A key second down play here for the Eskimos. It's complete. Stu Lang has it for a first down at the 31, caught there by Lee Bernard.
Well, they caught the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a blitzing situation once again. As Babinez and Harry Walters, you'll see them blitzing on the play, and Stu Lang just pulls up on a hook pattern below the defensive safety, Lee Bernard, number 26. Big first down for Edmonton.
Ken McGowan comes wide left. 4 minutes and 25 seconds remain in the game. Winnipeg leads 12-11. Pass intended for Calvin Harrell. Bob Toogood was there covering, and Harrell hadn't even turned around to accept that throw from Lemmerman. Ray Yark at the bench talking with Don Warrington. He may be employing something of a messenger service with Warrington and Stu Lang going in and out of the ball game. Another big second down play with 4:06 left in the ball game. To Stu Lang, he's got it way down at the 44-yard line. Make that the 46-yard line. Stu Lang took that pass way downfield.
And watch the pressure Jim Heighton, number 58, had put on Lemmerman from the backside. Just a tremendous play by Lang and an excellent throw by Bruce Lemmerman. The biggest offensive play, obviously, of this ball game for Edmonton. You see Lang making tremendous moves on Bernard, number 26, turning him completely around. First down for Edmonton on Winnipeg's 46.
3:43 is the time left in the game. Lemmerman has completed 4 of 11 attempts. Incomplete. It was intended for Stu Lang again. Lee Bernard went out of bounds with him and got a hand on that ball. Well, Lemmerman has come through with 2 very crucial second down completions. He faces another key play right here. 3:21, the time remaining in the game. Just 1 point separating Edmonton and Winnipeg. Not a fan here at a jam-packed Winnipeg Stadium has budged from the seat. Incomplete. Lemmerman underthrew the intended receiver, Stu Lang.
And Don, Dave Cutler's coming into this ball game. Edmonton's going to attempt a field goal. As we watch that play once again, Lemmerman just throws the ball too hard and well short of the intended receiver. But Dave Cutler's going to come in here and attempt a field goal. We'll be back and see if it's successful right after this message.
KFL presents Super Gold, the fantastic double album. Original hit, original superstars, KC and the Sunshine Band. The Spinner. Cage people play. Morris Albert. The fabulous Guess Who. Clap for the Wolfman. He gon' make your record high. Sugarloaf. Don't call us. 36 super hits with Deep Purple, Starbucks, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Silver Convention, Alice Cooper, Average White Band, and Austin Roberts. Lucky I've never been in love before. Dorothy Moore.
My whole world turns misty blue.
Jigsaw. You've blown it all sky high. Super Gold, an ideal gift. A double album, $9.99 from KFL. Tape or cassette, $11.99.
Available at Woolworths, Met Stores, Sam the Record Man, Link Hardware, Stedman's and Zellers. Also available at Woolco Department Stores, Towers, Woodward's, and the Bay.
Well, it is almost calm. There is hardly any breeze at all at Winnipeg Stadium as Dave Cutler will attempt a 52-yard field goal. The kick is up. It is good. Dave Cutler puts it through from 52 yards out. Ron Southwick almost got through to get a piece of it with 2:49 remaining. The Edmonton Eskimos have gone in front 14-12. What a kick by Dave Cutler in a pressure situation.
Kind of, we mentioned earlier in the week, Bernie Ruoff, the kicker for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had said that he didn't think the field goal kicking would be that significant during this ball game. How wrong he is. He's made 1 out of 4. You see, Cutler has made 4 out of his 6 attempts. He's put all of the points on the board for the Eskimos as they lead 14-12 with 2:49 remaining.
Dave Cutler at that Edmonton bench accepting congratulations. What a kick by Cutler, and now Winnipeg scrimmages from the 35. Brock is in trouble. He's down at the 25. Calvin Miller was the man who came through along with Dave Fennell. Bill Stevenson was also bursting in on the Winnipeg quarterback.
And it appeared there was some confusion downfield between Gord Patterson and Bob LaRose, two of the intended receivers. You see Miller coming in with the initial rush and Brock going down. Tremendous play defensively for Edmonton as they create a 2nd and 20 situation for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
.234 the time left in the ball game. The Eskimos lead by 2 points. The screen to Jay Washington. And Washington is stopped at the 30-yard line by Dale Potter and Dan Kepley. Well, Winnipeg is now forced to give up that football. And they will have to hope that the defensive unit can then hold the Eskimos and get the ball back. But now time is most definitely their enemy.
And how important this kick return is, Don, with Larry Highbaugh back there as well as Joe Holloman. If they can get any kind of kick return back, Winnipeg is not going to have very good field position, even if they do manage to stop the Edmonton offense.
Good kick by Ruoff as Holloman goes back to his own 30. And then he is upset at the 40-yard line by Elton Brown. 2:05 is the time left in the game. That was a 51-yard kick by Ruoff, an 11-yard run back. Bruce Leverman stays at the controls of the Eskimos. Coach Ray Yark has maneuvered his 2 quarterbacks rather successfully this afternoon, seeming to have that sense of timing. Yanking out Lemmerman when he couldn't get things moving, putting in Wilkinson, and then reversing the situation when the attack stalled under the direction of Wilkinson. Howard Strickland picks up just a couple of yards, and now a key 2nd down play again faces the Eskimos with 2:01 left in the ball game. Dan Kepley showing the fatigue of battle here at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon.
And his counterpart here, Harry Walters, the middle linebacker of Winnipeg, getting in on that last stop. 2nd and 6 for Edmonton.
1:55 is the time left. 14-12. The Eskimos lead it. 2nd and 7 for the Eskimos. Lemmerman being chased to the sidelines. They rule that he got out to the 50. And that will be very close to a 1st down.
Don, he's going to be about a foot short of the 1st down. Tough decision for Coach Ray Yark if he does wind up a foot short, because he's got to decide whether to go for that 3rd down gamble or kick the ball away to Winnipeg. I kind of think that Edmonton and Ray Yark will decide to gamble on 3rd down. Watch Limmerman as he gets to the outside. Harry Walters desperately trying to knock him out of bounds. Good job by Limmerman getting up to the 50-yard line. You see the ball being very carefully spotted as Coach Ray Yark looks on at the Eskimos. I'm almost certain, Don, that they'll gamble at this situation.
Well, the Eskimos have made no change in personnel, so they will be going for it. Ball is at the 50. They're about a foot away from a 1st down. Lemmerman keeps. He's got it. With 1:34 remaining in the ball game. And now Tom Wilkinson comes into the ball game. Well, perhaps I was premature in suggesting that the Eskimos had the 1st down. They marked the ball just across the 50-yard line, and it does require a measurement. However, it is a first down, much to Ray Yawk's relief over on the sideline. Ray's going to strangle himself one of these days on that headset.
Just by a half a football, but at this point in time, the Eskimos don't care by how much.
The Eskimos trying to use up as much time as possible. 1:21. Lemmerman is down back at the 47 by Lee Bernard. 1:16 is the time left. Dave Cutler has accounted for all of the Eskimo points. He's been good on 4 field goal attempts, and he has kicked a pair of singles. .107, the clock is running. That's the hero of the moment for the Edmonton Eskimos. That 52-yard field goal put them in front. Lemmerman going to his right side this time. And this time he has stopped short of a first down at the 53 with just 51 seconds left.
Don, I think we commented before this ball game even started that almost everybody in this city had written off the Edmonton Eskimos as a ball club that were finished because of injuries, and particularly to Tom Wilkinson and a number of other ball players they've had, and of course the loss of Roy Bell or his effectiveness throughout the '76 season. I think this really proves that you really can't tell what's going to go on in Western Conference playoff action. The Eskimos appear to have this game in hand, although we do have 48 seconds remaining. Edmonton leads 14-12.
Edmonton has already been guilty of 2 time clock violations today, and I'm sure the referee, Don Barker, will watch that clock very closely as Gary Lefebvre kicks on 3rd down. He got it away in time. It's taken by Merv Walker back at the 7-yard line, and he's down to the 5. Ernie Kirk made the tackle with just 24 seconds remaining in the ball game. A 48-yard kick by Gary Lefebvre and a loss of 4 on the attempted run back by that man, Merv Walker. The kicking game has certainly been a key for the Eskimos today. Gary Lefebvre has far surpassed his seasonal kicking average. Dave Cutler has been extremely accurate. And the big kick, of course, the 52-yard field goal attempt late in this 4th quarter. Winnipeg, 24 seconds away from elimination in the Western Conference playoff scene. The attempted screen pass to Steve Beard is incomplete. Ron Este almost had Brock in the end zone for a safety touch with 18 seconds left. Second and 10 for the Blue Bombers at their own 5-yard line. 18 seconds left in the ball game.
Interesting comment from the fans below us, Don. See if Lancaster can do it, Brock, you can do it.
Sideline pattern. They rule it is a catch. Mark McDonald grabbed it at the 25-yard line with 13 seconds left.
Good throw by Brock, but he just does get the ball to McDonald, who has to go down to make the reception at the 24-yard line. Only 13 seconds remaining.
Pass to Jay Washington. Washington is forced out of bounds with 3 seconds left. Pete Lavorato and Dale Potter straighten them up. Just 2 seconds showing on the clock. And once again, for the 4th consecutive year, it appears as though it will be Edmonton and Saskatchewan in the Western Final. Although this year, the venue moves from Clark Stadium in Edmonton to Taylor Field in Regina. This will be the final play of the ball game. The Eskimos out in front, 14-12. Pass to Tommy Scott. Scott in trouble, and he's down And that will be the ball game. The Eskimos win it 14-12 and advance against Saskatchewan in the Western Final. Ray Yock coming across the field to meet his counterpart, Bud Riley, as the competing players shake hands. And what a victory for the Eskimos, as it looked in the early going as though Winnipeg was going to run away with it. But that Edmonton defensive unit settled down and played some sound football, with Dave Cutler providing all the scoring they required. 4 field goals and a pair of singles in a 14-12 Edmonton victory over Winnipeg.
Don, I think part of this ball game has to be said in terms of the scoring leader in the Western Conference. In fact, in the entire Canadian Football League, Dave Cutler just outperformed his adversary, Bernie Ruoff. Ruoff was successful on only 1 out of 4, as Dave Cutler was successful 4 out of 6 times this afternoon on field goal attempts. The talented toe of Dave Cutler accounting for all 14 points for the Edmonton Eskimos. Now down to field level and Ernie Afghani's, but before that, we'll be right back.
It was 1958, and there I was, Jim Stevens, auto mechanic. Oh, I enjoyed the work, but I wanted to work for myself at my station, and that takes money and a financial plan to get it. So I called an investor's man, and he came to see me. Jim, he said, it can't be done overnight, but it can be done. And so he created a plan just for me. The investor's plan is based on something he called the 4 cornerstones: everyday money, guaranteed long-term money, growth money as a hedge against inflation, and family protection money through life insurance. Jim, it's a plan that allows you to pay yourself first, and that adds up to 1 gas station. It was simple. He made sense. And when he went on his way, I was on my way.
Labatt's 50. Easy to say, easy to enjoy. Easily Canada's favorite ale. You enjoy yourself. And you drink 50 because it's got a taste you enjoy. It's just that simple. You don't have to explain it. You just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
Okay. Yeah, these are happy people, and they just gave me a little bit of a shot. I'm not the backup, by the way. Bruce Lemmerman, along with Tom Wilkinson and Dave Cutler. Bruce, you started, came back in, and finished up. Just a great victory, and the Winnipeg fans, most people in this part of the country, did not think your ball club would do it.
Well, like I said, a lot of people probably didn't think we were going to do it, but I think the guys in this team, the coaching staff, we've got a lot of pride, and I think we felt all week long that we were going to do it, and it's nice to get it done.
It certainly is. Tom, I noticed in the second half, and I commented on the air, that it appeared that you may have hurt your arm. You were favoring just a little bit, and I thought you might go out of the ball game, but you were holding it. Did you hurt it?
Which arm is that, Ernie?
Nice going, Tom.
I heard it a little bit. It wasn't, I could throw the ball, but you'll notice I was staying short, and when we needed to get something going, we got Bruce in there, and we won the ball game, but we've got a big game coming up, and it's a good feeling. They had a hell of a ball club, and I thought Winnipeg played a great season.
It's been a great season for the Winnipeg club. Now you're back in against your old nemesis, the Saskatchewan team. Who knows what can happen there? It's been, well, this will be the 4th in a row now, Bruce.
Oh, that's right. We're looking forward to the final, and we still got some things to prove yet this year, and we're looking forward to going over into Regina. Now, we know we're going to have a lot on our hands, but we had a lot on our hands today, and those guys should be proud of the way they played.
Okay, fellas, I know you want to get back into the dressing room. Go ahead. I'm going to talk to Dave Cutler here. Thanks again. Dave? Dave who? He said, Dave, 52 yards. You got all the points today. A lot of pressure on that kick, and I know it came after a timeout call. You had time to think about it, and there we can see.
Oh, my God, I feel it again. No, seriously, Ernie, it's, you know, when this ball club is a very strong ball club, you know, together-wise. And when you're out there like that, if you're worried about missing it, you're worried about yourself. And I don't want to sound like we've practiced these lines, but I really believe that, you know, we're doing it for the guys, and everybody tries to do what they do. and it was just my opportunity. It was my chance.
So, but when you were standing there waiting for time to be called back in, what was going through your mind?
Well, I kept checking the flag because the wind was just a little bit different down here. It was kind of going sideways at times and going straight at others. So I was hopefully going to get a straight-on shot, and that's the way it came.
And I noticed earlier in the game you took a pretty good shot after a kick, and what happened there? Somebody hammer you?
Well, I can't talk about it too much, Ernie, but I do have 2.5 kids now.
Okay. Dad, as I mentioned to the other fellows before, when you came into town here, all the publicity said you could not do it. Your ball club was just not good enough anymore. That pride, was there a little anger involved there, too?
I don't think anger, Ernie. I think that everybody just kind of looked back at themselves over the year and kind of wondered why we hadn't done it. And I think that what it came out to was that, well, this is going to be the best team in this game was the one that was going to take it. And I don't like to say that we were any better than the Bombers, but I think when it came down to the crunch in the end, I think the experience told.
Okay, Dave, congratulations once again. Good luck to you against Saskatchewan. That should be a whale of a ball game, too.
Thanks very much, Ernie.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Dave, now back up to Don Whitman and Frank Rigney.
Thank you, Ernie. Well, the Edmonton Eskimos, 14-12 winners over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And, Frank, we keep referring to that first sequence of plays for Winnipeg, and they just blew out of there for that opening touchdown and couldn't do anything after, although they did have one march in the fourth quarter.
I think we really have to credit the Edmonton defense, Donna. The biggest play offensively of the football game, and we haven't mentioned it, Ernie didn't mention it in terms of talking to Bruce Limmerman, is when he hit Stu Lang very late in the ball game for a 47-yard pickup. Winnipeg's defense then stiffened and didn't allow the Edmonton Eskimos to go any further, but they didn't need to go any further because of Dave Cutler's 52-yard field goal.
Well, you know, you have to give Ray York a lot of credit. He did some masterful juggling of personnel today, I thought, switching Wilkinson and Lemmerman and then coming in with Lang replacing Don Warrington after Warrington had been a key receiver in some of their drives.
That's very easy for us to say, Don, because it worked out for the Eskimos. Had the Eskimos lost this ball game, we'd have said, why is the coach
pinned it on the
switching?
assistant coaches.
That's right. Why are they always switching quarterbacks? There were a lot of people here in Winnipeg Stadium that thought Ralph Brock should have been taken out of the ball game, and Harry Knight inserted because he was earlier in the season against the BC Lions and did a tremendous job. But that's not the way the Winnipeg coaching staff saw it. They've got a long time to think about that one now. They've got the season off.
Well, of course, in the final analysis, it was the kicking game that proved to be the difference, and it was Dave Cutler, the old veteran, who came through, and Bernie Ruoff, who had his problems, missing those field goal attempts early.
It is very unfortunate for Bernie Ruoff, the scoring leader in 1976, but Winnipeg did have a tremendous season. Edmonton now goes on to meet the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
So next week it will be Edmonton against Saskatchewan in the Western Final. And now for Ernie Afaganis, Frank Rigney, and our entire CFL football crew in Western Canada, this is Don Whitman saying so long from Winnipeg Stadium.
Canadian professional football, brought to you by Canadian Pacific, working for Canadians in resource development, manufacturing, and transportation. K-Tel International, specialists in personal care, household, and leisure time products. Yamaha Audio, quality stereo with a 5-year warranty on most models. And Labatt Breweries of Canada Limited, brewers of Labatt's 50 Ale and Labatt's Blue.
A lot of people have been responsible for bringing Canadian football fans Western Conference games this past season. From producer Leo Hebert, director Larry Brown, our isolation director Kenny Nielsen, our unit manager Tom Geeky, script assistant Alex Washishin, Derek Donaldson, Roger Brewer, Chuck Lear, Gary Rappaport, and Roman Stoiko, technical coordinator Hugh Carruthers, technical producers Stu Muscript, Marty Rain, switcher Clay Blair, the men who do such a fine job on camera, Len Duvitz, George Einerson, Bruce McConnell, Kim Edmonds, Rob Lumgar, Jack Mosley, and Phil Kuzi. Our video operators, Norm Koliznik, Craig McLeod, and Gary Holliday. Marv Polanski, the man responsible for audio. Al Penny and Norm Phillips on lighting. Jim Duncan, who operates our video printing machine. Slow-mo operators Ron Friesen, Ralph Weens, Jean-Claude Therian, and Bruce Middleton. Videotape operators Jerry Adamach and Rick Kelly. And Al Holmberg, Wayne Scrivens, Bruce Johnson, and Rick Beal, who keep things operating. Gary Hogg and Danny Hill, responsible for the fine sound from the field. Brad Weatherby and Paul Haggins, our assistants, and Bob Siatsko, Royal Harris, Louis Normandan, Cliff Harwood, Guy Jubenville, and John McCaution all of them making a major contribution to this, our 20th season of live CFL football telecasts. For 1976, that's it from the Western Conference.
This is CBC,